That shit's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Mac.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the beginning of Willie's song.
Is it?
Yeah, he has a record where he's like, yeah. It's actually the one that I'm on.
You're on it?
I'm on the record. It was me.
What was your contribution?
Screaming, yeah.
Well, I'd like to say that was a reference.
Let's go, man. We out here.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna get a Grammy by one way or another.
Oh, yeah. You on Magic?
We tried to create magic. We're not David Blaine.
Yeah. All right. So let's start the podcast. I got the recording going. Yeah. Greg, who are you?
I'm Yak's former boss.
Oh, God. Oh, God. That's on record now.
Yeah, we out here, with contracts. Just kidding. I'm Greg. I do a podcast. Well, I did a podcast with Yak called In My Lifetime. So I guess I'm from that podcast. And now I'm on Yak's podcast. We're doing a crossover episode, and we're doing it in the name of friendship. So we out here getting the best of both. In the name of both words.
That's really cute, dude.
Two people with two cute pods coming together to maintain a friendship above all.
We were like an amoeba that split. And now the amoeba's talking to itself. Like, remember when we were there together?
Yeah.
And the amoeba's like, wait, the fuck?
Remember when we were on that couch 48 hours ago?
Yeah.
It was a lot of emotion. It was yelling. It was chaotic. It was racist.
Whoa.
It was none of those things.
Dude, so like, I want to gas you up because you're my guest now.
Oh, okay.
And so on my tombstone one day, it's going to say, my friend interviewed Lil B in my driveway, and then shouted out my cat in the description of the Spotify link. So, what do you want to list off a few accolades? And like, don't feel bad. I don't want some shit where you're like, oh, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm a journalist. No, fuck that. What is your repertoire?
My repertoire is that I'm the best journalist out of New Haven County.
Specifics.
I'm that dude. I'm that dude. I would say I
interviewed Volksgeist in his house with his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what we do on this podcast. We appreciate moms.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, my mom held it down, and so did Volksgeist, and so did my dog. I've realized if you have a non-threatening animal in your home, your environment becomes like a safe haven for interviews. People feel really at peace, and you can just like talk to a dude for an hour in your parents' home. He's like, I've never even been here, let alone given an interview to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's cool, man. Let's take a selfie and make it on the New Haven Independent. But yeah, I think I'm the best music journalist in New Haven County. I would say in all of Connecticut, but I don't really know what goes on in like New London and shit. So
what would Fantano be? He's a reviewer, not a journalist. He's not journalizing things.
Yeah. He has YouTube on lock. I would say he's like the biggest YouTube.
He's the kingpin of music YouTube.
Yeah. Music reviewer YouTube.
Kind of looks like Kingpin too.
He definitely does look like a kingpin of the thumb community.
He looks like I can't remember who plays Kingpin now, but.
Oh,
the dude from Daredevil. Daredevil and Hawkeye. The thumb-looking man.
Yeah. He looks like a little heavier version of what's the dude from Hank from Breaking Bad? Like a little taller, a little more heavyset, and not as many cigarettes.
Oh yeah. List off who else have you interviewed? Let's go there real quick.
Yeah, I've interviewed Phony People. I've interviewed Drum. I've interviewed Little B. I've interviewed K-Camp. I interviewed Genshin the God. I interviewed Advantage Eiffel. I interviewed Paulie LP. He's produced for Little Peep.
Who's that gorilla dude?
Oh, I mean Slim Gorilla.
Slim
Gorilla, who is a former Raider Clan member, who I met through Genshin the God, who's like from Connecticut, and he's fucking dope as hell.
Raider Clan being they're Florida based, right?
Yeah, they're
who was in that?
Denzel Curry.
Fuck yeah. Was Space Ghost in there?
Yes, Space Ghost Perp founded Raider Clan.
Fuck yeah. Oh, he founded
Raider Clan.
I knew he was in it. I don't know much about Raider Clan, but I didn't know he was the founder.
Yeah, right? That is Space Ghost Perp's claim to fame.
Who else notables do you know in there?
I think Chris Travis, but Little Simmy.
X wasn't ever in there.
No, X wasn't in there.
Ski Mask.
Neither was Ski Mask.
They both roomed with with Denzel, didn't they?
I think, honestly, I forget just because there's so many Florida artists and they were all kind of connected to each other. Rob Banks and somebody else, I think, were in that group. But the two big guys were, you know, Space Ghost Perp because he founded it, and then Denzel. That was like Denzel's start was coming from Raider Clan. So yeah, it's been
notable.
For sure, yeah.
But yeah, you got.
Oh, and Jack Harlow, Jack Harlow.
Oh yeah,
Jack
you
Harlow.
interviewed Jack Harlow.
Yeah, Jack Harlow. That was pretty cool.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, some might say you're a journalist.
Yeah.
You're a man of the people, the press.
Yeah, definitely.
Fuck yeah, dude. What do you want to talk about today?
Yeah,
it's been some crazy shit with just like, we were talking about Kanye the other day. We were talking about a lot of things. Currency and Nas just dropped. Dude, oh my god, that Currency album.
That Currency album's crazy.
How are you feeling on it? What, like, rate it out of a 10?
I like it. I would say it's I would say an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
I would say like an 8 out of 10.
I don't think I can rate it yet. I
really respect that.
I love the intro track. Big Game Fishing. I like the J Electronica track. The Audio Dope 6.
Yep.
And then I like a few other tracks, but I haven't like done the deep dive yet. I was more into Nas's new album.
Yeah, so I really respect the way you answered that because a lot of people will say like, yeah, it was a good album or it was cool or they'll do what I did and just throw a number behind it without actually giving a real honest answer. So I've heard it 4 times, but I also haven't heard it. You know, threw it on, started smoking, life happens.
Well, is it possible to know the value of an album one listen through?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No. That's a really good point. I don't think so. And Joe Budden has a good point where he said, I'm not reviewing albums until 6 months after they come out. And I think that's a really fair way to do it.
Wow.
And you know, especially with certain releases like with Donda, which has been in the works for 3, 4, maybe 5 years, to review it after one listen, after an hour and a half, seems like a disservice.
Yeah. That's why I don't fuck with IGN and like game reviewers, because they have to get that shit out as quick as possible because they're trying to get people like, here's my review. IGN gets out the review, like all these GameSpot.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't ever look at those reviews. There's this dude, shout out Matthew Matosis. Man puts out crazy, like, he puts out like these, they're just, I want to call the man a savant.
Sure.
He has these insane videos where he ties in like themes of life to video games, and like the way he starts off talking about one game, he'll like end up on, he reviews like a bunch of them in some videos, and like by the end he like ties all the games together. It's crazy.
So
it's very artistic, and I like those more than just I played this game once, it was good. You can't play a game once and tell how its value.
So that is, your Matthew Matosis is my Dr. Sky.
Dr. Sky. Dude.
Where he'll connect stuff that you didn't think was connectable. Like, he'll tell you that the reason the Playboi Carti concert was a great concert was because it was everything that wasn't great about a concert, which made it great. Or he'll review Billy Woods, and he'll review the album under the perspective of Billy Woods being a college professor. And he basically frames it as a case study on, and my memory's not the best, on whatever topic he's talking about. So like one album was about, for lack of a better term, black plight. And he's like, think about this as a student, you're in the classroom and you're listening to these stories, and like he really makes you look at stuff from a whole different perspective. And like it's really it's really fucking incredible.
Context for how things are made, how art is made in general, is way more important than like I think people really think about. Like think about Donuts. Think about J Dilla Donuts.
That's why
the context of that album,
the greatest instrumental album ever made.
It's already incredible if you just like you landed on planet Earth today and you just heard Donuts and you liked it, but like knowing like the story of that album is like crazy. Knowing the story of like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye trying to come back from like being canceled by the media before canceling was a thing. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, like, Time, the center of the donut, I think this is the name of the song.
Donut of the Heart.
Donut of the Heart, which is either the last song.
Welcome to the Show, I think, is the last.
Is the last song. Okay.
And that's him going up to heaven.
Right. And the song that I'm referring to, the Time. What's it called again?
It's Time, the Donut of the Heart.
Yeah, that was the song that just broke me because, like, I believe it's like the kind of the euphoric one, and I always looked at it as like the beautiful moment when, like, you know, he knew he was gonna die, and it's just the moment where he was so at peace with it and he was free.
Yeah,
you know,
he's like crazy thing, man.
Yeah, I'm free.
I spend a lot of time being like, I'm not gonna let the idea of death scare me, and it's always when I'm sick. I don't know, like I'm like sick in bed. I start thinking about death.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, and I don't know. Shit's fucking scary.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the ultimate motivation. Like, I know it's probably, what's the word? Problematic to think this way, but
no,
like,
that's human, dude.
Word.
Problematic is to not acknowledge death.
Wow, that's what I've been trying to tell people.
I love the way you looked when you said that.
I've been like on Twitter screaming to the masses, all 93 of my followers. And
we'll get you to 100
one day. Yeah, Jamal's got to help. But yeah, I feel like it's like the ultimate motivation. Just like knowing, like, you know, you can die. Like, people, you know, that are in perfect health come down with life-threatening diseases out of the blue, and it's like, you know, something I've realized, if it happens to them, it could happen to you. So it shouldn't scare you, and it shouldn't make you act erratically or, you know, act out of character or just kind of have like a manic episode. But it should, you know, it should make you care about the work that you're doing. Where it's like, if this is the last thing I do, you know, it should be something that you're proud of and that can, you know, stand in your place if you aren't here, you know. And it doesn't have to be about death. It doesn't even have to be deep. It could just be like your final moment, your last thing is like, wow, that was the last thing that we got from him, and that's beautiful.
J. Cole once said, if this was my last breath, I hope that it was purposeful.
Yeah.
And that was my senior quote.
No shit.
Uh-huh. I know what yours was. It was, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman.
That's what it was. I saw that. I didn't know that.
And I opened my yearbook in the cafeteria and I said,
"What?
Greg's a G."
Wow, thank you. I didn't realize people read that, so that's pretty cool. Thank you.
I have a weird memory though. I'm surprised I remember 2013 like I do. 2014.
Yeah, I mean, that's really dope. I didn't know that you knew that.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, I promise I wasn't looking through the yearbook today.
Oh, it's okay, even if you are. It's pretty good. Yeah. Do you remember that from 2013?
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember
That's
a couple
really cool.
people's. And I remember. I don't know if you ever signed mine. I remember we were sitting at the same table. I think in the cafeteria. It's been a while.
Yeah.
High school sucked.
High school wasn't fun. Was that our study hall?
No, I think like one of those days we had in high school. They just like, where you guys are seniors, just fuck off. You know, it was like one of those days.
Yeah,
I think, and we all got our yearbooks, some shit like that.
I haven't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It sounds like some Amity shit.
Yeah, but like anyway, like the whole thing about like, and like that's like what you were talking about with like giving flowers and like, you know, what is that? What Kanye song is that? Give the flowers while they can still smell them. What song is that? I
feel like it's Roses or Addiction, but I don't know.
No. Because like you would think it's Roses.
Yeah, right.
Like, but it's not.
Hey Mama? No, it's not Hey Mama. Honestly, I don't know.
It's Big Brother. It's Big
Brother.
Yes, it's Big Brother where he's talking about Jay-Z. Yes, I swear to God.
No, I think you're right. I'm just trying to hear it in my head.
Yeah.
Because I know we just listened to it down here.
Yeah, my big brother was Big's brother. Used to be Dame and Big's brother. Yeah, but he's like, he has give the flowers, but they can still smell them. Like I can hear the cadence. It's definitely Big Brother.
You're right. I'm pretty sure
we talked about this the other day as well.
We did. We played Big Brother.
Yes, we did.
I can't remember. I remember hearing that, but I don't remember the word before it and the word after.
Yeah.
So I can just hear it like as a standalone, like what you're saying.
I know. Yeah. But no,
that's what it was, though. You're right.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
And I mean, that really is like I know multiple people who passed away from COVID. Like, shit, like, it's just like, I feel like most of these podcasts I've done now, I come up to this point where I'm like, the chaos of the world. It's like, that's like my Matt's capitalism kind of thing.
Word, yeah.
Where Matt kept bringing up capitalism. I'm like, keep bringing up how like scary the world is.
Yeah, because it's unavoidable. Like, to Matt especially, like, capitalism is, I would say, like, the thing that holds him back. Like, if capitalism wasn't a thing, Matt would be really, really, really happy. Not that he's unhappy right now, but his anger stems from capitalism. So, I would say, like, for me, my, like, anger and frustration stems from knowing that one day I'm not going to be here and wanting to just, while I'm here, enjoy it and have as much fun. And then when I don't have fun, I get angry because it's like, oh, well,
I'm wasting my time.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Exactly. And exactly. Because then you start thinking like, well, you know what? Time isn't forever and we're not here forever. So,
you know what?
You know,
I remember back in the day, I remember like sophomore year of college, I had like this line of thinking that like kind of held me back, which was like every time I'm like doing stuff, I gotta have the most fun as possible. Which on the surface you would think, yeah, then you're gonna have the most fun. But I've come to learn that like the more you focus on trying to have fun, a lot of the time you tend to have less fun because you're focusing on it. If you just try to be in the moment, a lot of the time then you're not paying attention to, am I having fun? Am I doing this? You kind of just ease into it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm having fun. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, because fun doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You can't put it. It's not. It's a feeling, but to say
you can't force it.
Exactly.
And trying to focus on like I'm not having fun a lot of the time hinders your ability to have fun. You know.
Exactly, and I think that's why certain people, like, I believe that anybody can like anything if they're in the right headspace. So it's why
100%. Sorry.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. I think that's why sometimes people take things personally because they're like, oh, I tried to show this to you and you didn't get it. So it's not that you don't like the song, it's that you don't like me. And is that true? No, that's not true. But a lot of the times it'll come across like that. And when it's like, well, you know what, in reality, you just weren't in a good headspace. And whatever was shown to you, you weren't going to like because you weren't happy with yourself.
100%, dude. Like, that shit dictates a lot. Like, your mood. I mean, we're moody people.
Yeah.
Fucking moody.
Dude, that's like that shit drives me nuts. Like, I sometimes I read about like multiple personality disorder and like all these like mental illnesses. And sometimes they scare me because I'm like, okay, I'm moody. So does that mean I have multiple personality disorder? Like it sometimes there's almost like it's too much information and you kind of it's just easy to like put yourself into a box because you're like, well, I mean, I have multiple moods, so multiple personalities on a very surface level. Well, wouldn't I fit over there? And it's like,
I think having multiple moods is normal. It's just how intense those are, you know?
Yes.
Because like everybody like. If we were to go upstairs and sit down with my sister and my whole family like that, the way I'm talking right now would cease to exist. I don't talk like how I am right now with my family. And same thing goes for other contexts, you know, like every context, I'm kind of like a little bit of a different person, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's pretty normal. It's just like more of the time, it's just like if you're like 1 minute you're like this and then all of a sudden like an hour later you're just like completely different person for no reason, because sometimes like something might happen in a context like in a hangout, like if you like insulted someone, they're probably not going to be the same person because then they're going to be upset.
Yeah, every action has a reaction.
It's more just the context of like how does your mood change do you feel like a completely different person out of nowhere? Is that like it?
Right. Well, you said a lot of truth, and I'll say this to go on top of that. It's also the role that society plays. Like, if you're like you just said, being moody is normal. Society will teach you that if you're moody, there's something wrong with you, which is not true. Let's and I don't know if I don't want to speak factually about opinions, but I am going to speak factually about opinions.
I just want to pick your brain. In what way do you mean that? Because I just
feel like
know
society like looks down if you're moody, and what I mean by that is like I feel like if you go on Twitter and you sit there and say, "Oh, I'm moody and this and that," somebody else would be like, yeah, I'm moody and blah, 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 and I have a mental illness, and it's like, da, 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 but they were never diagnosed with a mental illness. They just read online that if you have multiple personalities or you're moody, that you have multiple personality disorder.
People don't like to look at contradictions.
Exactly.
They don't want to look at contradictions.
Right.
And you can't see them in yourself is the problem.
Right, exactly. So then somebody goes on there and they self-diagnose themselves with multiple personality disorder, and whether you use it, so it's like with when Kanye said, I love being bipolar, it's awesome. It's like, regardless of what you think about mental illness, the phrasing is mental illness. Mm-hmm. It's not an uplifting phrase.
No.
It's
like, I'm unstable.
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like to me.
Right. It's unstable. It's demeaning. So the whole thing is like trying to take your pain and look at it in a positive light, but that's really hard for certain people, which is why Kanye saying I'm bipolar, it's awesome, was so powerful. But the flip side is that, some people don't want to be referred to as having a mental illness. Like,
Kanye just bought a house across from Kim's house.
Right.
Did you see that?
I did see that, yeah.
That's some fucking bipolar shit, man. Yeah. Why are you buying a house by your ex-wife's house? That's creepy, dude.
So, I'm not sure. All right, so I agree with you. I think it's creepy. I think it's creepy. I saw some people online saying, and before I get into this, I'm not saying I agree with this. I just want to bring another side into it.
Gotcha.
Because I did not. My first thought was what you. Thing that you said. Like, that's fucking weird, especially considering they're not.
Man's trying to make a rom-com happen.
Right. Somebody said, well, they're nearing a divorce and they're going to have to co-parent, so buying the house across the street will help with co-parenting. Now, yes, I understand from a proximity standpoint, that makes sense. You can also co-parent down the street, and if you take a left and go 2 more blocks, you can co-parent there. Yeah. You don't have to buy the house directly across the street to co-parent.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's creepy.
It's it's a little weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even think about that, though.
And it's interesting, because neither did I.
Are they not divorced yet? I thought they got divorced.
They are technically not divorced, but...
They're just, like, emotionally divorced.
Yeah, and it's like...
Well, except for Kanye. Kanye's apparently still about it.
Right. And it's like, on paper, they're not divorced, but actions... they're divorced.
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend his mom got divorced like 15 years ago now. But they're not actually divorced. They never went to court.
Yeah.
Haven't lived together. Husband's in a different country.
Well, yeah, and you look at Kim and Kanye's situation. Kanye seems to be the one that has a problem with being divorced. Kim hasn't said anything. She just went out with Pete Davidson.
That's wild.
Right? And Kanye is like, come back to me, and now is buying the house across the street. So it definitely reads like Kanye is not.
If Pete Davidson never slid in on my woman, I would feel some type of way.
Man.
I'd be making some crazy actions after that.
Which is why I don't want to say I don't respect Kanye in this context, but Kanye, your beef should be with Pete Davidson. Go talk to Pete Davidson. And what I mean by that is, instead of buying a house across the street from Kim Kardashian, because Kim Kardashian can do whatever she wants, and I'm not saying that because she's Kim Kardashian. She's a human, and humans can do what humans want. If you're angry or upset that she went on a public date with Pete Davidson, why don't you just go talk to Pete Davidson?
And even better, though, why doesn't he talk to Kim? Like, apparently, he keeps talking to the media about the relationship. Just go straight to her, dude. It's like, why are you fucking... So... That's so weird to just, like, talk to the media.
My only answer to that is he can't. And I don't know why he can't. But when I hear what you said, and it makes so much sense, and you think it would be so easy for him to have a conversation with the woman that is still his wife...
Yeah.
Why can't he? And that makes me think it's some legal proceedings or something.
Well, from what I heard, I saw an interview that Kim Kardashian said what I just said. Why isn't Kanye talking to me? She said, I'm not going to address him until he actually comes talking to me. He's continually going to the media, like on those events. He's like saying shit about her. like, I want to be back together.
Yeah.
But has not approached her, and she even addressed that. So you got to look at that and be like, okay, dude, she's clearly open to talk to you.
This sounds like a classic case of the male ego.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're comfortable yelling it and screaming it, but Kanye...
Man only cries after the time of midnight and 3 a.m., as Matt once said.
Matt, that's a Matt quote?
That was a Matt quote when we did the podcast with him.
Wow.
Yeah. I said I cry too much. He said he does it only after midnight.
In between midnight and 3 a.m.?
Yeah, some shit like that, where no one could see him.
Man, Matt's been he's been talking via the IG story.
Oh yeah. But anyway, wait, I wanted to hear what you had to say about that.
I think Kanye's marriage is over, and I think the reason he won't speak to Kim in person is because he can't look her in the eye and know that it's over. Like, he can't come to grasp that
I think you're right.
He pushed the woman of his dreams out.
Yeah. And it's almost funny because we're talking about this. Imagine having people on a podcast talking about your marriage. And we're just a small microcosm. We're sitting in a basement with gnomes on the table. There are so many people on Twitter talking about their marriage. Imagine that existence of like the whole world is talking about your divorce. Like getting divorced when you're living alone is bad enough. Imagine the world talking about it.
Yeah, which is why even with I'll say I don't respect Kanye not being able to put his ego down and speak to Kim in person.
I agree.
But I will say I also can't imagine what it's like, and this goes off of your point, having a divorce on that scale.
Yeah.
You know, like, we make it sound so easy, just go and talk to her. And like you just said, a divorce is painful, but when it's on a smaller scale, you know, people get through it. But it's magnified on that scale.
For sure.
So, you know...
Life Under the Scope, as Currency would said.
Yeah. Is that the name of that song?
Life Under the Scope on Pilot Talk 1.
Yeah. Life Under the... Yeah, that's a fact.
So like, that's what living as a celebrity is like.
Word.
You're constantly under that microscope. I wonder almost because like Kanye's been uber famous for a long time now. Do you think like at a point you kind of hit like being scrutinized through the media and like you do anything? You think that you hit a point where you're just like it doesn't affect you? Because like it almost like your brain, because your brain, we have neuroplasticity, like your brain rewires. Because right now, imagine us being in this situation. Man, I freak out about one person talking about me sometimes. Like imagine like, but like you get used to that almost. Do you think? I'm just I'm brainstorming right now.
I feel like you'd have to, otherwise
you just have a mental breakdown.
Yep.
It's like when you look at a crowd, you don't see one face. It's like a mesh of entities. It's like that's kind of what like having all of Twitter talk about you.
I mean, yeah, like you said mental breakdown and that's right. And my mind went to like, I know just cause like me at 26 on this earth has reacted crazily to much more minute situations. Like if I was in that position, like I'd probably try to kill myself.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
I mean,
like, not to be like that guy and make it dark, but just like considering I've let myself go over a lot less, I could only imagine what it would be like on that scale.
Well, like that's why like it's crazy when you see like especially teenagers, but like anybody really who gets like this crazy meteoric rise. Like I don't know who's an example, like Billie Eilish.
Okay, yeah.
Charli D'Amelio, yeah, sure. She's like fucking 16. Like any of those kind of people, like even a Justin Bieber, like that. Like I would rather kind of like have the slow come up where like you keep going through these levels of having a following because it lets you kind of get it acclimated. It's like imagine the difference between hopping into like a nice like pool of like water that's like, you know, nice temperature versus it's boiling.
Right.
I feel like that's the difference is like having that kind of meteoric rise is crazy.
I feel like to use Frank Ocean as an example, like being and let me not say Frank because this might not be the most accurate description, but like if we're talking about the music industry as like the vessel to get famous from, I feel like the best way to ease your way in would be to come in as a songwriter.
Yeah, because your face isn't attached to anything. No one gives a shit about songwriters.
And now you have the
who's Benny Blanco?
Word. And then in 5, 6, 7 years, because you have all these connections, you have all these connections, so then you make a hit song, and it's like, wow, now I'm ready emotionally for the exposure.
Yeah.
And now it's cool performing for the entire world, knowing that I was hanging out with Beyonce 8 years ago in a studio.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you kind of, you get acclimated earlier to, like, what it's like. Because, like, no matter what, like, if you're a songwriter, there are people that on Twitter that follow songwriters that are, like, super into that. Like, even fucking, like, video game kind of, like, streamers that I see, they have a following. They got, like, 50K. 50K people's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Having that on Twitter is a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And it's like, you're still, I wouldn't say a micro celebrity. That's not a micro celebrity, but, like, you're not, like, a AAA, like, kind of,
Yeah.
You're somewhere,
celebrities.
you're somewhere in that, you're somewhere in that vine.
Yeah.
And, but, like, yeah, like, even those people, man, I've seen people, I saw this fucking girl that, she said, someone said that, she was talking, the game Valorant?
Somewhat.
It's like, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. But she said, man, you come on Valorant, you have all these little white boys calling you the N-word. And then someone responded to that tweet and said, what's the N-word? And she wrote, who Kanye was in Paris with. And then people freaked out and were trying to cancel her over that. And I was like, okay, she didn't even say it, though. And it's like, one, why did she answer the person who said, what's the N-word? Why are you answering trolls, you dumbass? But, like, regardless, like, why are you canceling this girl over that comment? And she deactivated, she locked her Twitter up. I was like, whoa. And, like, just had a following of, like, 90K people. People attacked her.
We live in such a dismissive world.
I think we always have. It's just the internet exists.
It's heightened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we always have been. Think about, like, fucking moms in the 1950s. Did you see Charlotte the other day? Her dress didn't even match her heels. She looked like a fucking whore.
It's really true.
She didn't bring food to the potluck. Who does she think she can just show up without providing it for?
Oh, she thinks because her husband makes $10 million, she can slack off.
Yeah.
It's true, though. Like, we constantly push others down to put ourselves up, and then we go up, and then, we get pushed down, and it's like, it's just like, you just, like, look at yourself at, like, 90 years old, and it's just like, what do you have? Like, and I think that's why, like, art is so important, because it's like, it can live on after you, and, like, even if, like you have it, like, okay, I don't have a lot of money, but, like, I contributed to this world, and my...
Jamal said a quote on the last podcast, our friend Carson wrote it at the ATC, that was a drawing of the earth, and it said, the earth without art is just eh.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, and so, like, like what you were just saying, and yeah.
Oh, wow, wait.
Taking the word art out of
earth.
We got bangers in here, dude.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Damn.
Shout out to Carson.
Is that...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That better be around in 50 years.
Yeah. Wait. I had something to say when we were just saying that. What did you just say?
Carson, Earth,
before that though.
Being 90 years old, dying, and having art still be around.
Well, we were just talking about people.
Yeah. And pushing people down.
Yeah, and it's like we say that, and there's definitely a lot of people like that, but I feel like those are always the loudest people. Because I look at you, you're not like that. All of my friends are not like that. All my loved ones aren't like that. I don't know anybody around me that's like that. And it's like, not that those people don't exist.
Oh yeah, no.
It's just
I'm just letting you cook.
I think
you're killing this.
I think it's a little detrimental to, and obviously we're talking about it, but like when we say like that's how people are, I think it almost fucks us up to say that. I think it's good to acknowledge that there's people like that are fucking assholes. Wow. But it's also important.
You just described the stem of my depression.
It's important to also acknowledge, you gotta have good self-talk and be like, man, people I know fucking dope and they're so supportive of me.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the time if we don't do that, then the world feels shitty.
Right. I mean, dude, and then you stop getting into stuff that makes you really happy. Like, I think about hip hop sometimes and I'm like, there's no reason to listen to a new hip hop song. All the best rap lyrics have been said. All the words have been said. There can't be anything said that's cooler than what's already said. And I'm like, that is the most oppressive mindset, and it's just not true, you know? And it's like what you just said, like, we convince ourselves because we see all this yelling and screaming that that's the whole world, and it's not.
Yeah, no.
You know?
There's artists out there that still push the bill. They
Yeah.
And the reason why it feels that way, like what you just said, like everything's been said, is because most people don't have the creativity to build new things. They're going to go off what worked in the past.
Boom.
And because it's easier than to just do something original, you know?
And when you're making real change, you don't have time to get on Twitter and tweet 50 times a day.
Of course not.
You know?
Why do you think Donald Glover tweets like once a month?
And
twice a month.
he's one of the most impactful artists in the past 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe even more. Damn, I feel like we just connected some shit, man.
100%, dude. That's
People
what we
need
do.
to hear this because that's some really profound shit.
That's what we do on this podcast, dude.
On Mob Talk?
Mob talk,
Mob
I guess that's what we're calling it.
I mean,
I fuck with
it's
it.
episode 2.
That's creativity right there.
It is.
This
It
special.
really makes sense. Like, you really think it's like you know, you're right when you're like, you don't hear them. And you just hear all these people yelling and screaming, and it's like, wow, there's actually like other people out there that like Virgil, for instance. I just think about like you told me that Virgil got his degree in
industrial design.
Yeah. And that just blew my mind because I'm like, I realized at the moment, I don't know that much about Virgil.
Yeah.
Like, Off-White is such
No.
a small parcel of his
People know his name.
Right.
They don't know who he is though.
Yeah.
I just happen to be a big fan of him, so I like watched a lot of videos on him.
Yeah. See,
So like I know like obviously I don't know the guy, but like I know a decent amount. Like I know he went to school for industrial design. I know he was at forget what the fucking place was, but he was interning at in Italy with Kanye. Fendi maybe, but there he was interning with Kanye. That's how him and Kanye met.
Fendi.
Yeah, like I know like a handful of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people don't know those things. Most people don't know those things about a lot of shit, dude. Like, most people, when you talk about anything, like you talk about music, I can't fucking talk about music with a lot of people because they were like, oh, I heard a one song by that guy. And I'm like, oh, I was talking about his childhood. He never mentioned it in his song. He was talking about on his Twitter post from 2010 or some shit, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have this problem where I get obsessive about things I'm interested in.
Yeah, and then I get mad when people don't understand things to the degree that I do. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is that it's not their fault. People can do whatever they want. It just goes back to what you said. It's really a reflection of me in the sense of like, instead of getting mad that that person doesn't understand, let's say the Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Yeah.
like I do, well, how about you go find the person that does like the Red Hot Chili Peppers as much as you do?
Yeah, and even so, like, you can tell when someone's perceptive and when someone's not. Sometimes if someone doesn't give a shit, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just like, okay. But if someone, you know, something about people's demeanor, I almost want to say I educate them, like,
Right.
and I'm sure I've done it, like, with you when you haven't known something about some shit I'm spouting off. I'm
Virgil?
like, yeah, exactly. But, like, in general, like, yeah, you're just like, oh, yeah, this and this and that. And, like, I can tell when people actually want to hear that. And so I will, like, I'll pull that trigger and explain it.
Yeah,
And a lot of the time then that heightens your conversation with people.
Yeah, because being self-aware is arguably the most important trait. Just being able to like read a conversation and read a room, and that's really fucking important.
I think the most important trait is not fucking not like we talked about the male ego, but like ego in general. Women have fucking egos, bro. Men like the male ego is just heightened because we're fucking hunting deer and crushing rocks and shit. But like
This is the Revenant.
Yeah,
DiCaprio.
bro, don't even. I'm not gonna go on that tangent, but I might. Man's like John Wick in the French and Indian War. He's eating fish out the river. He's catching and hunting down dudes after he got mauled by a bear. But male ego. Yeah. So, but like, I mean, the most important trait with people is just like not giving a shit about yourself. Like, you have to figure out how to, like, find a way out of yourself. Because, like, and beyond that, there's two components. It's, like, loving yourself and making fun of yourself. I think those are the two most important things. It's, like, because it's almost like Wolverine. You know, he's got the claws.
Yeah.
Do you know that Wolverine has two superpowers?
I didn't.
He's got the claws, and then he has mutant healing. Because imagine if you have fucking claws that pop out of your fucking hand.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Your hand's all sliced up.
Yeah.
But he's also got mutant healing, so he heals like super fast. And so that's almost like the human condition, is like being able to talk about, like, be able to make fun of yourself and be like, yeah, I didn't fucking know what I was talking about. I was talking about the KKK with Jamal in that last podcast. I didn't know what I was talking about, and I said it.
You did.
And so, like, at the same time, but, like, that's like the clause.
Yeah. Making
fun of yourself and then loving yourself.
Yeah.
That's, like, awareness, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, like, and that's, you know, that I feel like a lot of people lack that to the degree they need to. I certainly do. And, you know, it's just loving yourself, man. I think about the scene, my favorite anime, One Piece. The first scene in it, dude walks into the bar. One of the most bad motherfuckers is sitting at the bar stool. And they're like, oh, we don't have any alcohol. They bought out the bar. And he's like, hey, man, like, I drank half of this, but you can have the rest. And the villain in that scene smashes it out of his hand and gets alcohol over him. And he just... They're all... This is like one of the most badass motherfuckers in this anime show.
Right.
In this manga, One Piece. And red-haired Shanks, by the way. And it's quiet. And then he just starts laughing hysterically. And all of them start laughing. And they're like, why is he laughing at it? He's fucking above this guy. Yeah, smash alcohol in my face. Yeah. He can just laugh it off. Like, ha, I just got fucking alcohol spilled on me. Go fuck off, dude, by the way.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah.
That's how you gotta be.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, speaking of Kanye, like, I feel like that is kind of what has held Kanye back in terms of appeal to certain people. The thing is Kanye is arrogant, but he has the talent to back it up. Kanye would most likely be liked by more people if he was able to poke fun at himself.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I mean, it probably comes at the...
He does in small spurts, but...
He does... You're right, and you've...
Like, I've seen the Hypebeast interview. I've seen...
Yes, and I'm glad you said that because... And I'm not trying to talk to you like you don't know, because you do know.
100%. I get what you're saying as well.
Yeah.
Is that, like we talked about before, people don't see all of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, remember when he got the Grammy? He's like, everybody wanted to know.
Oh my God.
What do you do if he didn't win? Is he going to wild out? I guess we'll never know. That is the most badass line, but he's also making fun of himself because he knows that he wilds out.
Boom.
You know?
Boom.
It's like they want to Kanye. It's like that's just who he is, but he recognizes it.
Kanye.
If he recognized it and if he pointed it out and he made fun of himself more, I think a lot of more people would like him. But, you know, we're not perfect.
We're not perfect. And while arrogance, like society says, like it's not the best characteristic, I will say, if he was more open to poking fun of himself and more vulnerable, his music might have suffered. And maybe we wouldn't have gotten those like The Glory. With My Ego, I Could Stand Here in a Speedo. And
basically
still
any
like
song
like
on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
And you know what? I wouldn't change anything about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah.
And which is awesome, which is why his Drink Champs interview, part 1 and part 2, which I have not seen the whole thing, but the reason it was so nice and it seemed to get some positive feedback was he was poking fun at himself and he was open to being joked on. And it was like we just said, that's been there, but the fact that he's doing it in 2021 on a huge on a huge media network, on Drink Champs, a big YouTube platform, a big platform is great. Yeah. To like the new fans that are just like, he's an asshole because I heard he's an asshole. I was like, well, check this out. He's actually pretty comical.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he wins himself some more fans, and maybe Donda will win Album of the Year.
And that's why, I kind of didn't like the Joe Rogan podcast he did, because it wasn't really Kanye being like his funny self, which I like. It was more him just being like serious and talking about like, it was like talking about just his aspiration. I don't know, that I would want that as well. I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I mean, though, right?
I do know what you mean, and the reason I went silent is I only watched like 5-10 minutes tops of the Joe Rogan interview.
I watched half of it.
Okay, could you actually talk a little bit about it?
He was talking about like all his ideas of like what he knows about Tesla and like not the car, the person, and like about like just like creating self-sustaining communities, and that's cool. But I also wanted him to just kind of like, I don't know, just be in more of a jokey mood and just kind of like, you know, be looser. And it's not that he was like tight or anything. It was just, it felt more serious. And Joe Rogan is one of the funniest fucking people. I love his sense of humor. He talks about like sucking dick and shit. like with Duncan Trussell, he's the funniest fucking shit. And I wanted Joe and Kanye to joke like that, and it didn't happen. It wasn't like that. It was more serious Joe and more serious Kanye. And that's why I only watched half of that interview, because it wasn't what I wanted.
That's why I only lasted 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this isn't cool. Because and I don't want to speak for you, but for me, like, I know Kanye's a genius. He's a genius. So I think his ideas are true.
I wanted more down-to-earth conversation.
Yeah, like,
I wanted them to talk about fucking random shit. Like, I just wanted to hear him talk about like
to hear, not to cut you off. What made the Drink Champs interview really cool is Kanye talked about music.
Yeah.
I forget that Kanye is a music nerd. Not
that
he's an amazing producer. Like, he talked about Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
I rarely have heard Kanye, if ever, talk about another artist.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I was into Bone Crusher, which I think was like RZA's first group or something like that. I could be misremembering. I was like, whoa, they asked him like Mobb Deep or Wu-Tang Clan, and he was like Mobb Deep or something, that like Common or Talib Kweli, and he's like, Common. Like, he was so passionate, and I'm like,
who are the hosts of Drink Champs?
Noriega.
What's his occupation? Was he a rapper?
Nori was a rapper.
Okay.
He was
guy.
What's up?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, he was a rapper from the 90s in a group called Capone Noriega. He then had a solo career. He worked with Pharrell, and Pharrell made some of his biggest songs, and he has some reggae songs. That's all that I know. He was pretty big for a while. He's from New York. And the guy that he's with is DJ EFN, who was a club DJ.
Okay, so they're both music guys.
They're both music.
That's the thing. Is like Joe isn't like a music guy.
Exactly.
But he's a comedian. He's fucking funny as hell.
Yeah.
It's like I wanted Joe to bring out the funny in Kanye, because Kanye is funny as fuck. And I wanted that, but it was more of a serious conversation.
It felt like Kanye was giving his why I should run for president.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And I'm like, this is such wasted potential, because I have two people that are hilarious talk about paper towel rolls, why they suck. I don't care. Like some Seinfeld shit.
Yeah.
Just, like Seinfeld, they just talk about mundane shit, like
it's a show about nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's about like the random mundane little like intricacies of life. And that's like what I wanted to hear, just like down to earth conversation. But it was more like, I want to be president because God chose me. Now I'm like, I'm turning this off.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's actually interesting. I don't know what Kanye meant by this, but in the Drink Champs interview, he turns to Nori and he's like, you'll be my Joe Rogan. I don't know what he meant by that. I don't know if that was...
Kanye said that to him?
Yeah.
You'll be my Joe Rogan?
You'll be my Joe Rogan. And I forgot what prompted him to say that.
Yeah, I don't know what he would mean by that.
Right. And I still don't know what he means.
Joe Rogan listens well. Maybe he means like that.
Maybe he means that. I interpreted it like this. Maybe Kanye thought exactly like you did. Looking back at that interview and realized it was wasted potential. And maybe that was his way of saying, I'm going to make up for that interview with this interview. This is going to be the interview that people wanted from Joe Rogan. Like how you said, I wanted comedy. Now here's the comedy.
Yeah.
You know, when they were like, you took Soulja Boy off the album, why'd you do that? Did you hear his verse?
Yeah,
It's fucking hilarious. And they all start laughing. Kanye hits the weed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, whoa, Kanye's hitting the weed.
Well, the Drink Champs conversation was definitely more equipped to talk about that. Like, Joe Rogan probably doesn't even know about that with the Soulja Boy shit.
Yeah.
You know, so Joe wouldn't even know to talk about that. But like I said, like,
Just-
it was funny.
Yeah.
Just talk about whatever, man.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck.
Like, for instance, like you just said, like the Soulja Boy music humor would come from Drink Champs, but Kanye's into so many things and
Yeah.
just has like could be
Funny
funny
takes
about,
on life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And who's the best person for that is Joe Rogan.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to give us another part. There was only one part, right? There was only one part of that episode.
They've only done one
They've only
podcast.
done
I would
one.
like him to come back in a different mindset where he's not trying to run for president.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
the Drink Champs was after that.
Yeah, it was like 3 years after that. 2 years. The
Kanye Joe Rogan podcast came out in 2020, like fall of 2020.
Oh, it did come out in 2020? Okay,
so like a year after.
Okay, so yeah.
This is post-divorce, post-running for president, because the Joe Rogan was right before the election.
Yes.
So it's like a totally different mindset. He was a different person at that time as well.
Yeah.
And so like I would like him to return to Joe and like have a different step down. Yeah.
I'd like it to be I'd like it to be 5 years. From the perspective of I want Kanye to do so much more shit and then go and talk to Joe again. I would love for them to sit down right now, but it would be kind of weird because like I didn't even realize like 2020 Joe Rogan, 2021 Noriega, like
Totally different life.
totally different life. But it was only a year. So imagine if you took 3 years between your next interview.
Yeah.
You know what he could do during that time period would be like kind of cool to see.
Yeah, he would just need to get him when Kanye's chilling. You know?
Yeah.
He's not trying to fucking run an election. He's not going middle of a divorce.
Yeah.
You know, like,
no, I agree.
Just get him when he's in a good mindset.
Yeah, I'm actually very curious to know what is Kanye gonna tour?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's why I'm going because
That would be cool to go to that though.
yeah, and
I'd be down.
I'm with you. I've been saying for years I want to go to Kanye, and I just never pulled the trigger.
It's one of those things that I have to before I die.
I
Want to say I went to Kanye once.
Yeah,
It could have sucked. It could suck. I just want to say I did
I
it.
have to go.
I just want to say I did it.
And I feel like he has many more albums to come, but I do want to go to the Donda tour. There's some songs like I want to hear Jail Live.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I want to hear Pure Souls.
Oh.
I want to hear Aunt Clemens Hurricane.
Yes.
And Weekend Hurricane. I want to hear just like
I want to hear the drums from Keep My
Off the
Spirit
Grid.
Alive.
Oh yeah. I want to hear Off the Grid. I want to hear.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of.
I would give up a lot to hear Fabio rap that verse in person.
Yes.
That verse is crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Man, what do you think about the current state of hip hop right now?
What do you mean by that?
I don't really mean everything. I don't mean anything and everything at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, in my head, I was just thinking about, like, Nas and Hit Boy's relationship right now. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Yeah.
because when the first King's Disease came out, I didn't really think much of it because I hadn't been listening to Nas that much. And then when this next one came out, I still didn't even really care that much, but I was like, oh, listen. I didn't really have anything to listen to, and I really fucked with it. And then I went back and I listened to the first one, and I was like, I fuck with this. And I was like, wait, this won a Grammy. And then I was like, I bet this next album, because this album's better, the second one's better than the first one, in my opinion. I bet it's going to be nominated, and it did. And then
King's Disease 2 is nominated?
it's nominated for Best Rap Album.
Nice, good shit.
And then they just put out Magic, and I like it as much as King's Disease 2. I'm like, man, when he said, it's not often I hear a rapper these days say something, make a claim, make a braggadocious claim, like, we're the new gangstar, and I go, he's right.
You know, because I felt the same way. When I heard that, and I'm the same way. I'll hear somebody say that, and I'll be like, no, you're not that, you know?
I'll laugh and be like, that's fun.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's like, they're having fun in the studio.
It's like when, like, an unknown West Coast artist says, like, oh, I'm the next Tupac or whatever, and it's like, you're not the next Tupac.
The only person to ever have that, everyone else said it about him. He never said it, and that's Kendrick. Everyone was like, it's Kendrick. It's because it's Kendrick and Tupac share the same birthday, too.
I didn't know that.
Day after mine, June 15th.
No shit.
Yes, sir.
Damn.
Go on, though. Sorry.
No, that's really cool. To just, like, like to just because I was like when you said like, the state of hip hop, I was like, what prompted you to say that? And the Nas Hit Boy thing, hip hop. I believe hip hop is in a really awesome space because you got the guy that made the Illmatic, arguably the most impactful or important hip hop ever, was made in 1995. It's now 2021, about to be 2022, and that guy is arguably the most popular rapper. When I say popular rapper, I don't mean in terms of streams. I mean just in terms of like impact on hip hop, not hip hop or like pop hip hop. I mean straight bars, traditional hip hop, hip hop.
A lot of these people in hip hop who are getting streams aren't rappers.
Exactly. So if we're talking rappers, it's so dope. It's exactly.
It's not easily.
And
dude.
the fact that Hit Boy, who, you know,
I've never seen a second wind like this.
Sorry
to cut you off.
No, thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
I had to let that out.
Thank you. I appreciate that because I was trying to figure out what I was trying to say. Like, and it feels like they're both having a second wind.
Yeah,
you know,
like, dude, Hit Boy, especially like late 2000s, early 2010s, was like hitting like a crazy. Like he was working on like Watch the Throne.
Yeah.
What else did he work on? Beyonce.
Like,
do you know anything else? I don't know early Hit Boy that well.
I know he did some Jay-Z, Watch the Throne, a lot of
Say no more.
Right? Like it's the biggest people.
Don't even need to say anything past Jay-Z.
Honestly. And then him and Kanye had a dispute, and then it was essentially blackballed. So now for him to come back from that with Nas, it's fucking awesome.
That song's with Benny the Butcher.
Oh yes,
Legend.
yes.
Legend.
Didn't he do that whole album?
Did he do the whole album? I don't think so.
I think he did.
Oh, I could be wrong.
I think
he did One Way
Flight.
He did One Way Flight.
See, and you know what? It's funny because I'm like, somebody credible said he did that whole album, but for some reason, One Way Flight does not sound like a Hit Boy beat.
Also doesn't have Hit Boy.
Exactly. So I feel like maybe
he did a bunch of the songs, kind of like how Pierre did a lot of Die Lit.
Yes.
Like 90% of Die Lit is Pierre.
Yes. That, or he executive produced it where he didn't make any of the beats except for Legend.
I mean,
but he just looked it over.
Basically, all of acid rap is just what's that dude?
Peter Conte.
Peter Conte, yeah.
Is that the guy? That's the only chance producer I know. That's why I said that.
That dude, or like Zach something, Zach Fox or whatever the fuck his name is.
I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, unimportant.
Knox Fortune.
Something. Let's get back to Nas.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose this.
Yeah.
Because, bro, like, yeah, dude, like that fucking DJ Premier Rocky song. It's like Nas, DJ Premier, Rocky with Hit Boy producing, DJ Premier scratching. Like 2021. Who would ever think that is a thing that would exist in the first place, but also work? Just fucking flow, just like butter, bro.
And
just like what?
How cool was it? Okay, here's King's Disease 1. Okay, here's King's Disease 2. We gonna give you the second one. In the back of my mind, I'm like,
okay. They already said, like, you know, the third one's coming. They already mentioned it. They already mentioned the third one's coming, and they're like, all right, here's a Christmas album.
Here's
a Christmas album that slaps like the last album.
Real quick.
Not even the third one in the series that slapped. Like,
here you go. Just
yeah,
and
exactly.
It's like, I mean, it's getting better.
Have you heard? Yeah, well, because like when you start creating with someone, like you start to learn how you work, and they're really starting to hit their stride with it, man. It's something special.
Really, all right. And this goes because like Magic just came out, and we just spoke about we should grade albums much more down the line. Rank the King's Disease 1, King's Disease 2, and Magic. But rank them not by what's the best, because that's just like so opinion-y or whatever. Rank them by your favorites. Like
King's Disease 2, best. Magic, second.
Or no, we're not doing it by best. We're doing it by favorite.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
By
okay.
like
that's
my favorite best.
Okay, yep. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, King's Disease 2 is my favorite.
Okay.
Then Magic, and then the first one.
Then the first one. Okay. I would go I'm going with the second one.
As your favorite, yeah.
I think. Actually, I don't know.
I really like Magic. I like the first one, but I don't know. They're really starting to hit. I'm just saying, Rocky isn't on the first one.
Rocky's not on the first one, but The
Anderson
Cure
Paak's.
and 27 Summers. 27 Summers, Blue Benz, 10 Point, I think is the name of that record. And The Cure. Is there a record called 10 Points off King's Disease 1?
I believe so.
Those 4 records, but I think it's The Cure and 27 Summers. Those 2 records are my 2 favorite records off any of the 3 projects. But King's Disease 2 it doesn't have something as high as those 2, but it has more. From my opinion, if that makes sense.
Dude, I mean, Rare,
Like,
Nobody.
Okay. Nas is good.
Yeah.
Composure.
Composure, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah.
What's it called? Death Row East.
Yes. Was that the one with EPMD and Eminem?
Eminem is on EPMD. Yeah.
Okay.
Two. The remix.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's so many good ones. My Bible.
My Bible.
Yeah. There's.
See,
I'm trying to think of what the other name is.
It's tough because my favorite song out of all of them is The Cure, and like I said, I think it's 27 Summers. But nobody like Nas is good and Rare.
Yeah.
Like
Rare. The both beats on Rare is crazy.
Hard, man. It's hard.
Like,
and like Magic, there's 9 songs. I listened to the first 7 and liked it. My 2 favorite songs were the last 2 songs, Truth and Dedication.
Truth and Dedication are both
hard.
Good. Did you listen to Woos for the Children?
I've heard the whole thing once.
We're gonna play that back after this.
And I'm glad you said that.
I love that song.
Yeah, because I forgot. Like, I guess I didn't know if I loved the 2 songs at the end more than I liked the first songs, or I just forgot what the first song sounded like. Like, for instance, Car 85 off King's Disease 1, I hadn't even heard that song. Like, I haven't listened to the whole album. I've only heard 5 or 6 songs off of it.
Yeah, the first King's Disease is my least listened to.
Yeah, I haven't heard all the songs on there, I'll be honest. I've only heard the 4 songs that just feature Nas. And then I was listening to the Joe Budden podcast today, and he played Car 85, which I guess is off the first album. I didn't even know that. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? It sounded amazing. I was like, how did I miss this? Like what? Like, I never even heard of the name. I looked at the title. I was like, was that? I was like, sure enough, it's off of that. So yeah, let's listen to that and Car 85, because apparently that's a fucking dope song. But
we're about to bum a bunch of Nas out this, apparently.
Do you want to, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do right now? What do you want to
I wanted to talk about Currency.
Oh, okay. Then let's go to
because we were
Currency.
talking about Hit Boy.
Yeah.
Hit Boy rapping on Composure sounds like fucking Currency to me. Like the beat, the fucking... And I'm just... At this point, I'm like, bro, can we get a Currency Hit Boy album? Dude, I really want it.
They don't have anything.
I know. It's like you got fucking you got like what was it, Alchemist and Currency.
Yeah, okay.
And like shit and Freddie Gibbs and Currency and like
so
man, a Hit Boy Currency album with a song where Nas raps on a Currency song. Currency and Nas go bar for bar.
I mean,
And the fact that they just both dropped albums like a day apart, I'm like the stars are aligning at this point. Oh, God.
My only objection to Pilot Talk 4 coming out was Currency made a list of 7 albums he was gonna release in 2021.
What kind of psychopath does that?
Right? 6 of them came out, and the one that didn't come out was his tape with The Alchemist.
Oh shit.
So, to go back to what you were saying about the state of hip-hop, I think hip-hop is being ran by 2 producers, Hit Boy and The Alchemist.
Okay.
So, real quick, I'm sure listen. So, how dope would it have been, and it was still dope, if Magic comes out with the hottest rapper not named Currency and the hottest producer not named The Alchemist, and the second album that comes out is the hottest rapper not named Nas, Currency, and the hottest producer not named Hit Boy, The Alchemist. That would be the perfect way to go out of 2021. The 2 rappers and the 2 producers who have ran hip-hop for the whole year would sign us off.
Dude, Like, that would be...
That would be crazy. And it was still dope. I'm not trying to be that guy and take away from was 2 great albums. I'm not trying to be that guy. But that would have been fucking...
That would have been different.
That would have been different.
That would have been very different.
That would have been different.
Yeah, no. Holy shit.
Right?
Dude.
Whoa. And really, really quick, just because you made me think of something when you said a Currency, Nas, and Hit Boy song. I feel like that's possible because Currency has got a verse from Jay Electronica.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything's possible.
Oh, people fuck with Currency. People are getting on the jet, if you want to catch my drift.
Jet life. The Jets are in the building.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, fucking yeah. He had Jay Electronica on this album. He's had some like good. He's had some good. I mean, he made a fucking album with Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah.
Enough said.
You know, he put something on his Instagram story. He has a song called Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine Dupri heard it, tweeted at him, was like, "Whoa, that's incredible! I'm so taken aback. Thank you so much for doing that." Mm-hmm. And then he puts up these videos of him in the studio with Jermaine Dupri. Apparently, Currency has an album coming with Jermaine Dupri and Mike Will Made It, which is right. Which is like anything is possible. Like who? I didn't think that was ever gonna happen.
I don't understand how you start a year and go, "I'm going to drop 7 albums."
Yeah. You know, the reason I understood it was because if anybody were to, it would be Currency. Only reason I think this is, Currency had a year where he dropped a mixtape every month.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't onto Currency like that. I just read it and it stuck with me because I'm like, that's fucking insane.
I think it's possible, and I don't want to. I don't mean this by a diss, but like Currency, like you look at a Kanye album, each album is very different, whereas Currency's kind of in his groove.
Yeah.
It's easier to make an album when each album is similar. Whereas like Kanye, every time he's like, a lot of the times he's trying to reinvent the wheel. Like he's doing something totally different. A lot, you know. So whereas Currency, he's giving us that shit. It's like Griselda. It's like, we know what we're coming here for because that shit is dope, you know.
And I'm sorry,
No,
I didn't
no,
want
I-
you
I
were
was-
okay because
I was done.
you were cooking, and that is why. And again, I haven't heard the whole tape, but that's why when I heard One Way Flight, it hit me because I was like, this is different.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like Griselda. It sounds like an extension, and that would be my only flaw with Currency is that it's.
One Way Flight sounds like a Currency song. Okay, just take. Like imagine you can immediately imagine Currency rapping over that.
I mean, I hear Golden Chrome with that sample.
Yeah,
reminds me a lot of that.
Golden Chrome.
Oh man, we're. Oh man, we're gonna have a good jam set.
We're about to have a mixer.
Yes, with
With the gnomes.
With the gnomes. These really tie the room together.
I know, don't they? Like you don't have to have much on this table, but man, I look at those gnomes and I feel like I'm in an area I want to be.
It's funny. Like I feel like we're like everything else is kind of like blacked out in this room, and it's just a table, a gnome, and you.
They're watchful.
They're There they are.
They keep an eye on me.
They do with no eyes visible. They do though. Like they do.
That is the irony. Isn't it?
That right, and they're fucking all there. It's crazy.
You ask me in this world, what are my eyes and ears? I say the gnomes.
The gnomes. I cracked up when Sean he was really into the gnomes.
He put them on his story. Yeah. People fuck with them. They've become like that's what I did. The gnomes are going to be a part of the podcast.
Let's go. Let's go, man. And that's the cool thing about putting it on YouTube is the thumbnail on SoundCloud is much smaller than the thumbnail on YouTube.
Yes, different aspect ratio.
Yes, you can really
you can
get into your art bag.
Yeah, you can really fucking you could throw a lot up on there.
And you can hit them with a GIF.
Oh
you
yeah,
can go crazy.
I was considering putting other stuff, and I was just like, I just want to get this out. But it worked out. It worked out. We got a hot 20 views.
I was gonna say,
5 likes.
Nice.
One of them myself.
You have to. That no shame. Yeah. No fucking shame. I like all my shit. I'm gonna get that like, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on there.
Well, what's nice is on YouTube, no one can see who liked it. On Twitter, you can't like your own shit because people see you're liking your own shit.
Yes.
You can't stoop that low. But on YouTube, I'm free to just I'll hobble down and click that like button.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
I got to get in the algorithm somehow.
gotta get on the right side of the algorithm. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's kind of like, I mean, just trying to make a podcast work, man. It's interesting. Like, you know, like you said, like we're trying to get views, but you know, you got to look at like how you're trying to hustle and like make a lot of content. You got to look at like what you're putting out there and also just how you're going to get it out there. But sometimes you got to just make shit. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you talk to a gnome for 20 minutes. Might do a gnome podcast, but like as long as I'm talking, the first podcast that Joe Rogan ever put out, it's Joe Rogan talks to Joe Rogan. And it's just him talking to himself, but that's what it's titled.
Right.
And there's no video. It's just him sitting there with his fucking phone probably, or like some shitty microphone, worse quality than this, just talking to himself. And like, that's the mindset I'm trying to embody is like, I'm just going to put as much shit out there as I can. You know, I'll throw on whatever drawing I feel like putting on Twitter. I'll fucking make a fucking video essay. I might start making One Piece chapter reviews. I don't fucking care. As long as I keep making shit, whatever it is, I'm just gonna keep grinding.
Yeah. That's something I was ignorant to. I didn't realize the value in continuously pumping out content.
I mean, what were we just talking about? The man that put out 7 albums.
Yeah. And the good part about that is it keeps you relevant. You're always there. And I remember listening to a Currency interview, and that was his thought process. Like, I'll keep, because he came from the blog era, just keep feeding the blogs. You go on a website, you're going to see me this month, next month. And it's like, it's true. Like, I think, like, I made an acidious statement where I was like, I'm the best journalist in CT. But the one thing I will say is the one thing that's hurt my career, boy, that even sounds really pompous, but the one thing that the one mistake I know I made was taking breaks. And I felt like there were times, not that I felt, there were times where I had momentum and I failed to capitalize. You know, I went back, and I feel like if I had continuously pumped something out, even if it wasn't up to the standard that I wanted to, just staying relevant could have garnered me some more fans. And that's the one thing that I know I dropped the ball on.
I mean, I'll bring it back to where our whole podcasting relationship basically started, was talking about Casey Neistat. And I mean, when he was starting, he was just like, I'll make a video every day. I'll make a fucking a vlog every day and put as much work as in. The biggest thing in Hollywood and content creation is consistency. It doesn't matter. And one is, like you just said, it keeps you relevant because you're constantly putting stuff out.
Right.
But I think also it's just keeping that sword sharpened, because like if you take a long break, you're like, okay, you're trying to remember how you do this and like how, but like if you're doing it regularly, it gets to a point where you don't even need to think about, like, I'm getting like even more so each podcast I feel like I'm doing, I barely need to think about how I'm supposed to podcast, because I can listen back to every single one and I'm just like, yeah, I know how to keep conversation going, how to, like, in my head I'm always like thinking about where I can bring a conversation if I don't know where it's going. You know, it's like it's just practice.
I mean, dude, I felt that when I attempted to bring my podcast back, and
let's not say attempt, because it did.
It did. Well, it came back because of you. And
no. It came back because of us.
That's hard.
It takes two to tango, bro.
That's a fact.
The smiley you just gave me.
That is a fact. I love that line. But I was emailing these people, and when I went to send the email, I was like, I forgot how to send an email. Like a pitch email. Like, you want to. I was like, oh my God, I forgot how to do that. And it's just really true. Like, you really don't realize there's an art to anything really. And it's like, wow, like, you know, I forgot how to do this. And then you get back at it, and you like you just said, you keep the sword sharp to the point where it just becomes second nature.
Yeah. And it's more about your ability to talk to someone than to you know, actually than to be like, how many views did this get? You know, because eventually one of those is going to fucking hit. Exactly. All the other ones that got less views than you wanted don't matter compared to the one that actually popped off.
Dude, that's how I feel about my SoundCloud page, where I have a volume that has 3,000 plays. And the reason that's nice is because none of my other ones are remotely close to 3,000. So I'm like, if you're a fan who just stumbled upon this, you're like, okay. Oh, this one got 3,000. This guy must know something.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me go listen to the 3,000 one, but then let me check out one of the smaller ones. And then I feel like after 5 or 6 years, maybe those numbers start to even out. And it's like, wow, you kind of grew the whole forest. You had a plant, and then you grew the whole forest. So you're absolutely right. So that's bound to hit.
Well, that's how content is. Like, if you keep putting out content, it doesn't matter if one doesn't do well when you put it out. Because, like, say one pops off a year later, and then the rest of you, like, when I found iDubbbz, you ever hear of iDubbbz?
Yeah.
I found him years after he started his YouTube career, and then I went back and I watched almost every single one of his videos. And I still, to this day, every, like, couple of years go back and watch a bunch of his videos because they're that funny. And he made those in 2014. Doesn't matter if they got 10,000 views in 2014. They have 1 million now. You know, it doesn't, like, you just need to keep fucking making shit because you get better at it. It's like, I can't remember who fucking said it, and it's pissing me off right now. But someone was like, they were like, we were just interviewing anybody we could find. I can't remember what channel this was. They're like, we didn't give a fuck who it was. We were going to just talk to anybody because we were just like, we're just going to keep putting out that fucking shit, you know? Like, we're just going to keep... Doesn't matter if you got a following or if you're anybody. I'm just gonna keep fucking doing this shit with that crazy persistence. And, like, you know, there's another guy out there, MrBeast. He had a channel for years that didn't do anything, and he just kept putting out mad fucking shit. Like, he put out like gaming videos. He's years of fucking playing, like, StarCraft, I think, like playing all these fucking. It has nothing to do with his channel now, but maybe you got 20 followers from that. And then he just constantly kept hustling for years, and then he started investing all the money he was making off his videos. Like, and you would do these videos where you would get $100,000 from the Google Chrome browser, like Honey. Do you know what Honey is?
No.
They're like an add-on for Google Chrome that whenever you go to shop online, I'm just doing a Honey ad now. What the fuck? But fuck it, I have Honey. So they will let you, it'll be like, oh, I'm going on Amazon, you could get a better deal here. And then, or they'll find you discount codes for shit. It's very useful. You should check it out. But he got like a deal with Honey for like $100,000, and he went on Ninja. This is after the Drake stream Ninja did on Fortnite. And Ninja was doing a charity stream, and basically if you donated like a certain amount of money, he would have to drop his gun in Fortnite. You had to do this. And all of it was to fuck with him. So people wanted to fuck with him and see if he could still win. Right. And all that money would go to charity. It's a very good idea. Right. But MrBeast saw that opportunity, got $100,000 from Honey, and just started donating constantly the entire all day 10 hours of the stream, fucking with him, and then made an entire YouTube video compiling Ninja's reaction to, like, what the fuck, MrBeast? How do you have this much money? Who are you? Right. And that video was like fucking, I don't know, like 70 million views.
Oh my god.
Because think about it, Ninja was like the biggest streamer at that time.
Yeah.
So, like, this dude's a genius. And, like, but, like, that all came from making all these videos where he was just making video game like streaming videos, whatever.
Right.
It's just all that hustle, man. Like, you look at the people who are in Hollywood, and half of them they're not as talented as someone who might not be in Hollywood. They're just got tenacity.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, it's you know, and I don't want to fucking push hustle culture that much because it can get toxic. Yeah. A lot of people have meltdowns, but there is an art to hustling, and if you can balance it, man, I mean, that's how Logan Paul came out. Like, that's how a lot of these fucking Viners and TikTokers and shit, it's all hustle.
Really quick, do you want to pause it really fast? I gotta blow my nose. Yeah. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, so we were talking about hustle culture and having the toxic side of that, and, like, brought up Logan Paul, and then yeah, like,
this is called a punch-in.
Is that called a punch-in?
Yeah.
You learn that at the Broadcasting School of Connecticut?
That one I have to give to Joe Budden.
I thought you learned that at...
no, I didn't learn shit there.
Why is it called a punch-in? Because you stop the take and then
you punch right back in, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And so what they'll do is...
Look at Joe dropping knowledge on
Right? Look at Joe out here. Patreon Poppy. The Patronies.
Oh my god.
Brother.
But yeah, hustle culture can get toxic, and like my 2 points on that was just that you either have like overworking where like you get burnt the fuck out and like you lose all your like, you know, everything is about work instead of being like you don't have any like time outside of work. And then the other side, like I was talking about, like Logan Paul is like when you're filming dead people and you're you're just like you're lost in the sauce to the point where you're like, oh, this is good content, rather than looking at the human side of like, I just filmed a dead person.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. I guess that would just be like you said, like losing faith in the human side. Yeah, like you kind of forget ethics and like forget that whole thing.
Well, it's not even you forget it, you overlook it. Like,
right.
Like you're just like, you're just like, yeah. You're so focused. It's like the David Dobrik thing. You're so focused on getting good content that like you go past looking at human, just the human condition, I guess.
Really quick, because you just brought David Dobrik up. Does he still make YouTube videos?
Oh yeah, he came back. His fans don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He was canceled for like a month, and then he came back, and everyone's like, yeah. And it's like all the people that realized, like, I don't know. He kept trying to brush. Do you know about that situation?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah. Did you know about the part where like he was trying to get the girl to not talk about it without even acknowledging her, like she was raped. He was we're talking about receipts. This whole text conversation was shown, and he, without even going, "Are you okay?" The first thing was like, "Can you not talk about this?" When that's the first thing you're going to, rather than like. It's like...
Yeah, what are you hiding? Why are you telling her to be quiet?
Well, not even... Like, it's no... Like, in the conversation, it's not even what are you hiding? It's like, can you hide this rather than are you okay?
Yeah.
It's like, he didn't even want to take responsibility at all. He's just concerned with his own career. And the apology he put out was just for... You know, this is the shitty part, too, is he put out an apology where it was... in his studio, edited, and it was the worst apology. It was like the Travis Scott apology, where he didn't acknowledge any of it, and he was like almost like not acknowledging the victim at all. And then he put out like another one where instead of being like in his studio well lit, he's on his kitchen floor with his phone and like crying, and then he edits out the crying, and it's like it's so fabricated, and it's like to get that appeal of like this is me in my natural state, and it's just so manipulative.
Just come out and say you don't care.
It's so manipulative,
just
dude.
Do it.
It's like you're one step away from pulling your dog into the shot.
Word.
That's the classic YouTube apology: is bring your dog in, because like you can't be mad at a guy who's got a dog in his lap.
No, I mean trust me, I see all that shit, dude. Like I see all that shit. It's funny because like you know when people are hiding things, and you can see them trying to do stuff to improve their image in the public light. So yeah, you'll see that, like, in literally bringing in a dog and like the metaphorical dog, like, oh, now I do charity.
Yeah. That's why I don't fuck with. This is why like Barshawn will talk about like, let's go to LA, let's go live there, and I'm like,
so superficial.
I get it, but like everybody's out there to just make a career, and it's like,
I can't.
I feel like I would just not.
I would lose my fucking mind.
Yeah.
To be not to interrupt you, I would lose my fucking mind because I lose my mind on Twitter when I see those people tweet. Imagine being in the same room.
Well, it feels like everybody's trying to use you.
Yeah, and I would last a day.
Yeah,
I would just because I wouldn't be able to hold it back. I would start telling people off, and it would be bad.
Yeah, and
it would be really bad.
And this is where I kind of said, and when we were talking about like you got to have yourself, and I didn't mean to dismiss that when we were talking about it, because I wasn't dismissing it. It was more in the context we were saying about like the podcast in general. But like I do agree that you need to have yourself. Like that's how you survive in that like LA landscape, is that like you have to have yourself, and not like you look at people and you got to just be like, okay, this person is clearly trying to use me, and understand that like I'm not going to be friends with people that are going to do that. And I think we both have that kind of mindset where we can see where someone's being superficial. At least I feel like you definitely do, and I feel like I do, where we see people just kind of, you got a weird vibe about you. You're just talking about business. You're not trying to actually be friends.
It's why, and this is not because I'm with you, but it's why I'm starting to, and I've done this before. Like, I've worn sunglasses inside, and I've gone out even when it's rainy or cloudy out, and I've worn sunglasses while I speak to people. And this is not a reflection of you, but it's because I don't want people to see how I feel, because I'm getting to the point where I can't fake how I feel. If I'm uncomfortable or I don't like somebody, you can physically see it on me, and that's why, like, I'll put sunglasses on, because I'm like, I don't want you to see how pissed off I am. You know what I'm saying? And that's not why I'm wearing them here right now. I've just been very, very, very anxious in like a lot of regards, and this helps me.
Well, yeah, you haven't slept.
Exactly.
Man, I cried in front of someone when I hadn't slept and I was drinking IPAs at 4 a.m. It happens.
Was that me?
No, that was at that camp I went to.
Ah, yes.
I still feel weird about it to this day. They asked me to speak in front of the entire, speak in Estonian in front of the entire, because it's like a scholars camp. Like, the head of the cybersecurity for NATO was there.
Oh.
And they wanted me to speak in Estonian and introduce people and talk about their life. And I had been in the sauna at 5 a.m. drinking Angry Tom's IPAs from Muskoka. And Muskoka, north of Toronto.
Wow.
And I was fucked up, woke up drunk, ate breakfast, and went to language class. Man. And they were like, you got to do this reading and that. And I remember I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then the woman who was teaching my class, she's very nice, but she was like a very stern person. Right. She thought I was just trying to be like, I don't want to do it. But I was speaking out of anxiety. I was like, I don't want to speak in front of people. And she's like, no, you're going to do it. And she said that to me in like this angry face. And I was so tired. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I started fucking crying. and oh my God, you want to talk about reading people's faces? The look on the person who asked in her face were mortified to see a man with a beard crying in front of them. I was like, dude, I was so anxious though. Because I was already anxious because I hadn't slept at all. I was fucking hungover as shit. And in the entire camp, they speak in Estonian. I'm good at Estonian, but this is like I'm good at like
in NATO.
Well, there's like an intellectual, like I'm speaking like speaking in very sophisticated terms. Like there's a lot of words in Estonian I don't know. There's words in English I don't know. You have to be like, wait, what does that word mean? Imagine in Estonian, a lot of the words I know in English I don't know in Estonian. So I'm trying to understand what they're saying, and I'm just like, the whole week, I don't know a single person there. I was an anxious mess. That's fucking, my male ego was out the door. I started crying in front of people.
I feel you though, man.
They were like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I just don't want to do this.
That shit'll hit you, bro. That's like when I fucking cried to Meek Mill. I hadn't been sleeping, and he starts talking about coming from where he's from, and
sleep deprivation will do it.
It'll kill you.
Talking about where he's from, why did that make you cry?
'Cause like I was like, wow, it's such a miracle that he's still here and that he's able to like produce music at such a high quality, like considering it's just from like this really dark place. And I'm like, that is so fucking beautiful. I started crying. I was just like, I couldn't relate to it in like a setting sense. Like I'm literally driving around.
But like emotionally, how do you relate to that? Because I'm sure you do.
Yeah, because like I felt like, especially during that time, like every day felt like such a hurdle. And and it was like every day felt like a lifetime, and just getting through the day felt like an accomplishment. And I'm like, wow, like not only like this guy has gotten through days that dwarf my days, right? His adversity is so much larger than mine. You know, there's no guns in mine, and he's got gangbangers running around with guns.
Yeah.
And he was able to overcome that and produce Dreams and Nightmares, which in my opinion is one of the greatest hip-hop songs ever. And just that whole culmination.
I'll put it in the top 100.
Amen to that.
Top 50 for sure.
Amen to that for sure. And it's, depending on the era, it might even be higher.
There's a lot of rap songs. When I say 50,
right.
50 is high.
No, 50 and that like 50 all time, absolutely. Maybe 100 all time, just because there's so many.
There's a lot of rap songs.
There's a lot of rap songs. And that's why I was like, era. Like, if you look at, like...
That's a compliment, though.
Right. If you look at, like, a 10-year span, it might be... It's definitely top 50 in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
That is a fact. And, yeah, just, like... It was just like, wow, like, if he can overcome his shit and make something so beautiful and still be making stuff that's so beautiful, I was like, wow, this is... It's just like, it's beautiful to cry because I was like, wow, like, you know, I feel good. Like, I went to the convenience store and I started crying. I fucking hugged the dude. His name is Steve. He always works there. And I just started in the middle of the store. There's people in there, and I'm hugging them and I'm crying.
You're hugging Steve?
Hugging Steve, crying in the middle.
What was his reaction?
Well, it was funny because he told me, he said, Luigi, it's gonna be okay.
Luigi.
Luigi is
Greg,
gonna be
I feel
okay.
like you have a different name every week.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Lou one week. I'm Luigi.
Yep. I tell him all different, and it's funny because he told me one day, he's like, I know your name's Greg, but I know you like being called Luigi's, and I was like, oh, thanks, Steve.
I remember back in high school we called you Georgie for a while.
Oh yeah, it's wow.
Baradeska called you Georgie.
Speaking of high school being shitty, there's one reason why.
Did you not like being called Georgie?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, see, that's funny. I was like, Greg loves it.
Right? And that was funny because, like, Shot Yacht didn't bother you, right?
No.
And that's
very
funny.
little bothered me in high school.
That's funny.
Very little bothers me now.
That's funny because when I heard that, I was like, that sucks. Like, I thought that name was awful.
No.
Like, Shot Yacht. Like, that doesn't sound good. And I was like, wow, like, that, like...
No, I wore that as a badge of honor,
See,
dude.
that's interesting.
I wore Yak the Cock like a badge of honor, dude.
Respect.
Yeah, man. People would call me that, and we'd all laugh together. Well, because all the people that called me that, I liked.
See, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Anybody who called me that, it wasn't to my face.
Wait, they didn't call you Shot Yacht to your face?
People that didn't like me. If anybody...
So people that liked you said it to your face.
Yeah, and then we'd laugh about it. Like Royster and like people that I liked. Like
that's ironic.
But like anybody who was calling me Shot Yacht like in a derogative way probably didn't fuck with me. Didn't say it to my face though.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
The point is they told me that.
Yeah.
They told me that.
Oh, I thought you were saying
then I didn't go to you and bring it up.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, that's Shot Yacht.
Well, Shot Yacht came from love because you make fun of your friends.
See, that's funny. I didn't realize that.
Anybody who's saying it not to my face, the only person who would want to say it to my face would be people who weren't afraid to. And that would be people who I fucked with,
I didn't see it from that point of view, because I really didn't know you like that. So I was also, and still am, very impressionable.
Shot Yacht came from Royster, so
yes,
and
it did.
Me and Royster are close, like not close now, not. When I say close, like every time I see Royster, it's love.
Yeah, no, I mean you guys had the Xbox.
Yeah,
you were part of that.
I rode the bus with him. I was good friends with him in 8th grade. I was very good friends with him. Like, me and Royster, whenever I see him, that dude, love, man. Like, and so, when we were talking about before, when people fuck with you.
Right.
I've never had experiences where, like, people, that I feel genuinely are really nice to me are, like, actually talking shit to me behind my back. I've had people that are like acquaintance nice that are talking shit that I've learned about.
Right. Yes.
But people who are like very nice, like I just said, Royster. That's a different story.
And you've had people ghost you through FaceTime at 3:00 in the morning in New Haven, or deadpan you.
Deadpan me apparently. Yeah.
Just.
That's fine though.
So I'm gonna flip this camera.
Oh God!
All right, yeah. I went to your house that night. I think.
Yeah, we hung out on the porch.
Yeah, was it that night or the next night? I think
that night.
That was that night.
That was. You were like, "Can I come over in 20 minutes?" I was like, "Sure."
Yeah, which should tell you about how
I was
much
eating
fun
Quest
I was
chips.
Having. You were, yeah.
Man, Quest chips. That
should go to show you how much fun I was having. Got out of that hangout real quick.
Yeah,
that's a podcast for another time.
Oh God, but bro, it's funny. It's funny because like. It's funny that you brought up the whole dreams and nightmares thing. It's funny how fucking connected spiritually me and you are. And I say that because I remember right after, and for the podcast viewers, let's go into a little Greg and Yak history.
Yes.
Back in 2020, a little after the pandemic, there was a falling out between us.
Yes.
I don't know, would you call it a falling out? It was just like we stopped talking.
It's a separation.
A separation, and which led to mending later on.
Yes.
But right after that happened, I listened to Dreams and Nightmares, and I would run on those trails that we walked through. And that was at the point in time where I was like really into like hiking and running on those trailers every single day, even before that happened. So like after that happened, I remember I was like, I'm gonna show Greg, and I was listening to Dreams and Nightmares, fucking running up the and yeah. So it's funny that like we both have like a Dreams and Nightmares thing that relates to each other. Because like you were like talking about like hustling, and I'm talking about hustling, and you were listening to that after we hung out, and I was listening to that after we hung out.
Well, you know what's funny too is I thought you were gonna say this. I remember that. In the Nigel Houston video, it's funny because you said we had a falling out, and in that video, he literally falls off his skateboard.
Yeah.
And then gets back up and starts skating right as Dreams and Nightmares comes on.
Well, he's bleeding, too.
He's bleeding.
He falls down Hollywood High.
Yes.
The stairs.
Yes.
The classic staircase. I think it's a 12 stair. He fucking falls down, and he's got the shot above him, and he's just on the ground. He's bleeding. Yeah.
And then, like, literally
and then he
gets up.
And then fucking just shreds that rail, dude.
Kind of like how we came back in a
friendship. Well, that's why I was listening to that song in the first place, is because we were watching when the pandemic started. None of us were hanging out because we were just like, we can't. Nobody saw each other for months.
We were Zooming.
We were watching fucking on what was that Watch Together site?
Yes.
WatchTogether.com. We were just playing skate videos constantly every night, and then. Yeah, we were watching Till Death by Nigel Houston. That's the reason I was into Dreams and Nightmares. And then a couple weeks later, that's the reason I was listening to Dreams and Nightmares. That's a good song to work out to, I'll tell
you.
If anybody listening to this wants to work out, play Dreams and Nightmares by Meek Mill, man.
Word.
You will go hard in the paint, bro.
Straight up.
I was sprinting hills on a trail is the hardest shit, dude. Like, because you saw those trails, those hills. When you start fucking running up
that
those,
incline.
It's rough, though, because it's not flat. It's not like asphalt, because you got to watch your step.
Right.
Man, that's a good workout.
Get those wet leaves start slipping.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
So I was just pumping it while I was just like, Greg thinks I'm not going to succeed. I was like, half of me just wanted to say that so I'd push myself harder.
Oh, no, that's real, though.
You know what I mean?
That's, bro, it's funny, because, like...
Doing shit out of spite.
Word, bro.
Bringing back to the Matt podcast.
Word, and bringing it to your podcast, I was like out of spite or whatever. I was like,
Did you think I did the Jamal one out of spite?
No.
Okay,
I didn't.
I thought that's what you were saying.
I didn't. The thought ran through my mind just because
you literally told me to do that.
Well, then that's why that's why I didn't believe it.
Oh, okay.
But the reason the thought ran through my mind is just because we've been talking about spite so much recently. Like, it's been like a top topic of conversation.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, and that's why in the text conversation I made those jokes. I was like, I taught you what. Because it's not like that. It's not like that, which is why we went there. It's not.
Yeah.
Listen, I love Joe Budden, but Joe, like, he be saying, like, he really says, like, when Maria Mall, like, leveled up or quote unquote whatever, he's like, like, I'm so proud of them, I taught them well. Like, he really said that.
Does he mean it is the question.
I mean, as somebody who has listened to the Joe Budden podcast for the past 4 years, he does.
Yeah.
Totally
Do you think it's accurate?
Yes.
Yes.
That I do.
You think it's accurate that...
Yes. I think it's accurate that he did that, and I think the podcast is better now post Rory and Mal than it was with Rory and Mal.
Do they do their own podcast?
Yes, they have their own podcast. Yes.
Together or separate podcasts?
Rory and Mal have their own podcast together.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So they're doing their own thing, and Joe has his own podcast with two other people. I think they're both in great spaces. The Rory and Mal podcast is cool. I don't listen to it that much. It's just not really that into it. But the Joe one is even better now. They got good chemistry. Sidebar conversation.
Hell yeah.
But yeah. No. I did not actually think that. But I will say, it definitely made me want to it definitely made me want to like keep doing stuff like when I saw like you dropped that pod and got 20 views in a day, which that
oh yeah, big time shit, right?
It was the same. Well, when we did our Travis video, we got 20 or 22 in the first day. Honestly, maybe even less.
Well, you know what helped is Jamal retweeted it, and he's got like 1,400 followers. So
well, he retweeted your video.
The podcast we did together.
Oh, he retweeted it?
He retweeted it. So like
I didn't know that.
All his followers saw that we did the podcast, and like I got like 300 impressions and a bunch of like you can see like on Twitter how many people looked at it and how many clicked the link. Like I had like 20 people who clicked the link.
I follow Jamal on Twitter. I didn't see that. Did he just retweet your tweet or did
yes. He retweeted my tweet.
Okay, I saw your tweet. I didn't know Jamal did that. Thank you, Jamal.
Yeah, thank you.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I didn't ask him to. He did it himself.
That's the best feeling. Did he, not to be like awkward, did he retweet this video yet? The one that you did?
Wait, which one?
Did he retweet the podcast that he did with you and him?
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. He retweeted the one that were the
one that you did with Jamal?
Yes, that's what
I thought he retweeted the one that we did.
No.
I was confused.
Okay, yeah. No,
okay.
Today I tweeted out the Jamal podcast.
Oh.
And then he retweeted it. That's why I was saying like you're like, "Oh, you got 20 views." I'm like, "Probably cuz Jamal retweeted."
Cuz of Jamal. Okay. No, that's dope. That is actually very dope. I was like, Jamal, I'm still thankful. Well, I can't be thankful that you retweeted the video because you didn't, but you weren't supposed to.
He watched it though. He listened to the whole thing.
Oh, he did?
He watched all the In My Lifetime ones.
I appreciate the support there. I was five minutes ago I was like really blown the fuck away because, I appreciate him listening. If he retweeted that would have been insane. We're not like that would have been crazy. But, I mean. He doesn't have to do that, and I wouldn't expect anybody to retweet something they're not involved in.
Well, Jamal will be hearing this because I know he'll be hearing this. Yeah, I'm not even going to mention it. Jamal, hit up Greg when you hear this.
Word, thank you.
Hit him up and say,
I will say,
and send him honey baked ham. Text Greg honey baked ham when you hear this. I will not tell Jamal. He will text you promptly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Jamal, please retweet anything I do. I need views for my ego.
When Greg tweets about people being suspect on Twitter at 3 a.m., please retweet that.
Please. I need all the people on my side.
Greg, I really fucked with your tweet that you put out the other day where it was like the Tinder Bumble tweet where it was like on Christmas, send a Merry Christmas. I retweeted that.
Trying to be the one.
Yeah, I was like, all right.
Unsure of how to start a conversation. That Merry Christmas might get it done. Let's go. Thank you. I did notice that. You retweeted that?
I did.
Yeah, you did retweet that because it got one retweet. I was like, oh,
to my 18 followers.
Yeah, but it looked hard though.
Oh yeah,
it looked hard. Listen, from my point of view, that one retweet meant more than the 5 favorites.
Oh yeah, it's not about who sees it from the retweet. It's about seeing that one next to the arrow symbol.
Boom. Next to the what symbol?
The retweet symbol is arrows.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I was confused.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I agree.
It's like one arrow away from the recycle symbol.
Yeah. Word.
Yeah. Exactly.
We out here.
Yeah, no.
Thank you for bringing that up. I was proud of that tweet.
What the fuck? How did we get here? We were talking about doing shit out of spite.
Yeah, doing shit out of spite, and not doing stuff out of spite. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I'm glad that we hashed that away. Yes, I did not start mob talks out of spite. You actually told me to do mob talks, basically. Because you were like, do the podcast without me. Yeah,
I did. I did.
And so I was like, you know what, I'll do that.
Which is why it's such a great situation because we're both in such a great place. And yeah, I just think we're both going to win. Like
exactly. Well, like Joe Rogan does his own podcast. Duncan Trussell, like all of his friends, they all do their own Theo Vaughn, they do their own podcast, and then they go on to each other's podcast. Because like
collaboration.
Me and you clearly want different shit from what we want to do with our podcast, so we might as well do 2 separate ones where we cross-pollinate. Because, like, I like having you on, doing it right now, and, like, if you ever, like, want to have a solely music conversation for yours, because do you want to keep yours very music-related, or do you want to branch out into other stuff?
Probably... What I want to do is I want to use music to talk about larger issues. Like, I want things to stem from music, but I want it to, like, branch into other stuff. And just, like, the culture around music, you know?
Okay, yeah, because, like, I can talk about fucking music. So, like, if you ever want... Like I was saying, like... if you ever want... Oh, thank you. You're that dude for me. A lot of Gagliardi, a lot of Gagliardi... My
It sounded like you took my last name and converged it with Goyard, the fashion company. Goyardi.
Well, let's say I did that.
Hey, we out here. Georgie Goyardi.
But yeah, a lot of that in the playlist. A lot of that in the play. You do affect my playlist, though. I will say.
Thank you.
You and Matt particularly. Jamal gets in there. No Parshawn though. And Parshawn, if you hear this, hit up Greg. Text him. You probably don't even have his number. Text him Gnome at whatever your number is. But yeah, no, you put me onto a lot of music. I love that you show me Pee Wee Longway and stuff.
Yo, thank you. Let's go.
Haven't got a ghetto. Boom, boom.
Dude, you showed me Mr. Pyrex or Pyrex Man by Benny.
Pyrex Man.
Pyrex Man. That record is.
You would have found that on your own though.
No, because I found out he dropped a song, but I didn't listen. And knowing me, you know me. You know it takes a lot for me to eventually click play. There's a very good chance I would have been like, whatever. And I always tell people, if you want me to hear something, just play it.
Yeah.
And that right there, prime example.
Yes.
You put it on, I was like, all right, it's going on the list right now.
You lit up. You were like a fucking Christmas tree, dude. When I put on that Benny song, you went from like being kind of tired to like, you were basically a one-man mosh pit in my basement that night. You were just like, let's fucking go!
Man.
While Parshawn was falling asleep.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, I forgot Parshawn was here.
Yeah.
He fell asleep. Like, I forgot he was like right over there. Oh, sorry, Parshawn. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but I forgot you were here because you didn't do anything. Sorry, Parshawn.
I forgot he was at Pierre Bourne. He was like a statue at the back. He was like a nutcracker just sitting at the back. You think me and Jamal were moshing. He was noshing.
He was noshing.
Not moshing.
I like that. He was noshing.
Yeah, but like, yeah. This is the thing about a podcast, and we mentioned it on the Jamal one, is that like you start doing shit, and like you'll get into a conversation, and you're like, wait, how did we get here? Why did we even get to this part? We were talking about just the separation of the podcasts.
Yes.
Yeah, because like I definitely want to be more eclectic with my shit. I'm like, you want to talk about skydiving while inhaling fucking aerosol cans while we talk about fucking music, and then we talk about video games. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And gnomes.
Yeah, you definitely have like, because you said this a long time ago. You're like, I'm very well versed. I have a lot of very different interests.
Well,
like, I'm here, there.
Nothing really. I don't feel put off from anything really. Like I'm like, man, I'll watch any genre of porn.
Yeah.
but yeah, man, like I got my dick in a lot of glory holes. I got my hat on a lot of heads. My head. But I'm like, because I play video games, I'm drawing, I'm painting, I'm fucking watching anime, I'm watching all these movies. I still is the French Dispatch still in theaters?
I believe so.
I would like to see that. I still want to see that with you. I don't want you to feel... I felt bad because I feel like I shafted you on that. Because I do want to see that.
So, okay. I shafted you on Pierre. No,
shut the fuck up. I want to see the French Dispatch in that New Haven theater. But like, yeah. Like, I don't know, man. I just... It's hard for me not to get interested in shit that's weird. Whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's... Well, I think because you're... I think you had a much... this is gonna sound like really weird. You had a much more pure upbringing.
What does that mean?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So I had a lot of people around me, and I will say this: I was impressionable, and I had a lot of people that I don't want to say like forced me to get into stuff, but a lot of the people I was with, it felt like a kind of like a very like on a low level like a cult, as in like if you don't like these things, we don't like you. So it's not about you, it's about we like you if you like that.
Oh,
we don't
that
actually
fucking sucks, dude.
Right. And also I didn't realize it at the time.
Well,
you know,
how old are you?
Let's say this started 7th grade, 8th grade.
Yeah,
and then,
how the fuck? How would you have the emotional intelligence to know what that fucking is, dude?
Yeah, I mean that's yeah.
Yeah, obviously you didn't recognize that. Yeah, I mean, I don't. That sucks. I don't know. Everybody I was friends with, we all just had different interests, but nobody judged each other. They were just like, yeah, fuck yeah, you into anime, you're into fucking sports. Like, I loved sports growing up, but I like anime as well. I like fucking video games. I like music. I like doing whatever, man.
And that came from you.
Yeah.
People didn't judge you because you didn't judge them. You made them feel comfortable for just bringing whatever they wanted into the equation. People I was around, I would be very self-conscious to bring something forward because I knew if they didn't like it, they wouldn't like me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's classic.
That's not fun. That's fucking
not
like that's gotta like fuck you up in some kind of way, right?
Yeah. It's the reason my baseball career didn't go where it went because
Greg the Slugger.
Greg the Slugger. Greg the Slugger. I've never heard that until today, but I like that. Greg the Slugger.
I meant it as a compliment.
Oh yeah, no, I took it as a.
It's an insult now, though. We framed it that way.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. There's no. It was yeah, like the people that were doing that were the people in the baseball community. So you know, it's not. Why would you want to take 3 hours of your day and be around people that you don't want to be around? You know. So I was like, now baseball being that event, it was like, all right, well, if I'm gonna have to, if these are gonna be my teammates, because you know you're growing up, you see these people all the time. It's a small community, so you're playing with the same people for like 9, 10, 8 years. So it's like, wow, this is just kind of like not fucking worth it. Like, you know?
Well, like Jamal said it on the first podcast that like he felt super judged for who he was growing up, and then when he got to the ATC, like all those people were they're into what he was, and they weren't judgmental, and so like he you know. That's what builds confidence. It's just like having people that fuck with you and aren't judgmental. Otherwise, like, how the fuck are you gonna feel stable if people are always judging you?
Word. Or you become the guy that's not open minded, and whatever you say is right because you can't. Like you've been rejected or made to feel rejected.
Well, it goes the opposite way. Is that
right?
Like,
you become a hater.
Well, because like when everybody tells you that you're wrong for so long in your life, whenever it gets to the point where you're conditioned that if someone tells you you're wrong, you might be wrong, but like you're conditioned at that point to be like fuck you. You know, you're like, and yeah, it's like. Yeah. And, like, I almost feel that way sometimes with my parents just because, like, I'll say shit and the way they talk to me, I'll get, like, really pissed off. So, like, I get it, man. I get it. Like, you know, if everyone fucking tells you, oh, like, they're dismissing you, you're going to dismiss other people just out of habit.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. That was very profound.
Is it getting too personal?
No. I was gonna ask you, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. Actually, do you want to pause it, or I'll ask it, and if you want to maybe edit that or whatever.
Is it personal for me?
Yeah,
I'm fine.
Okay. Do you want to open up to what you mean by your parents and that dynamic?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm just like talking about what I want to do for a career, and they're just like, oh no, you can't like. That's not feasible, or like, you know, just in aspects of that, or like. Fucking just like I was today I fucking was painting, right? And my mom, like I got paint on my pants, and I was like, I can get it off, and she's like, no, you can't, you can do that. And that seems like such a simple thing, and I start freaking out because I'm like, shut up, like if I want paint on my pants, it's not your decision. It's like, I don't know why that gets me heated, but it's like, why do you care about my pants? It's my fucking pants. Like, you know.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just like shit like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just get annoyed when like people are telling me.
It's like, what can I have?
Yeah, like what I want. You know, and like I know what I want. I remember, you know, getting more personal. I remember there's a girl that was interested in me in high school, and I liked her, and I talked to her for a while. And after talking to her for about a month, I realized like we're not very compatible. And I had people in my life telling me that, you know, you just go out with her. Like, you're young, you got to just go out with people. And I just didn't really want to. And I kept talking to her for maybe like a month more. And I wasn't feeling it. And then I just kind of left. Like, I remember she wanted to meet up. And I was like, no, I don't want to anymore. And she was like, she sent me this long fucking text of like, you've led me on and like all this shit. And
now you feel even worse.
And at the time,
now you're getting it from both sides.
I remember I just like, I couldn't handle that. And I felt like it wasn't even my decision, and I didn't answer. And to this day, I regret it. Because like, I was like, this poor fucking girl, like I shouldn't have done that. And I've thought about messaging her, but I'm like, she's like, she's got a boyfriend now.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I don't want to like make her like. I feel like messaging her to apologize.
Yeah, no.
But I feel like it will come off as me trying to get back, like trying to like.
That's why.
But I don't want that at all. I feel like it wouldn't even do any good. I don't know.
No. The reason I reacted that way was because of that.
Yeah.
When you said boyfriend, I said, oh, that's why I did that, because it's for a lot of reasons. One, the boyfriend finds out about it. Who the fuck is this dude? What the fuck does he want?
Yeah.
He's gonna
Oh, you talked to him in high school? What does he want to talk to you now?
Right. And
Yeah.
you know what the part is, and I don't know her, so this is not a fact. I could see her being like, I could see her responding to that like, oh, like, thank you for reaching out to me. That was like very kind of you.
Yeah.
But even if she wants to say that, if the boyfriend finds out about it, he won't let her say that.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna make her say something bad, and then that's gonna affect you.
Well,
and then you're like, why did I do this in the first place? Now I feel worse than I did when I started.
Yeah, and like
That's a tough situation to be in. And for the record, you're not the only one. I don't say that to sound insensitive. I say that to be like, you know, like, remember what you were telling me before about don't get stressed about that situation. Stressed right now about it, but I'm hearing you in the back of my head. So
that was the moment in my
navigate.
life. I remember after that happening, I was sitting there and I remember thinking to myself, people pushed me to do something I didn't want to do, and that led to me hurting this girl, and it's still on me, but I didn't want to do this. And it a lot of things in my life at that time, I was just kind of like, oh, I'll just listen to like what my parents think. And that was the moment I just I like snapped in my head. I was like, I'm just going to do what I want to fucking do. Even if it means being fucking not in like a great position. Not that I'm in a bad position in my life, but not like I could have like a really consistent job right now and that. But like it just awakened something in me that I was like, even if it's at my detriment for a minute, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I'm gonna keep it pushing because I know in my head what I want to do is going to work out eventually, even if for 25 years it didn't work out. But you know,
I do. I'll say it, bro. I feel that. So that's why I live with my parents. And I'm gonna be there for a long period of time. Like, I'm not moving out anytime soon. And part of it is because I'm comfortable at my home. And the reason I'm comfortable in my home is, for a long time, I wasn't comfortable in my home. So I would go out of my home. Right? You're not comfortable, so you would go out. And I went into the real world, or the world outside of the home, right? Out of the comfort zone. And what I realized is, it takes two to tango. And I've been involved in a lot of situations that aren't pleasant. And what I've learned is how do I phrase this? What I've learned is if people don't like you for whatever reason, situations, stories can be flipped to make you look really bad. I know the difference between right and wrong. And the line between right and wrong is not as wide as you think. Not you, but you in general, would you think. It's a lot thinner than a lot of people realize. And I've been in a lot of situations where if it's told one way, it could look really, really awful. Now, I know what happened, and I'm at peace with so much, and I did not do things. But my name has been attached to some words that have a lot of meaning and words that you don't want to be attached to. And what I learned is when I went out into the real world, it's really scary and really crazy. And I realized, I said, I'm going to die if I stay in this real world. I'm going to die or I'm going to go to prison. Because this is just, the cycle here is terrible. And to cope with insanity, I tried to fight it with more insanity, right? You're trying to numb yourself and you just spiral down and you're like, oh my God, look at who I'm in a room with now.
Do you mean with like numbing do you mean with substance? Or
yeah, and the thrill of substances. As in not even doing drugs, but being involved in the I'm trying to say this without saying stuff because we record, but being involved in we'll just leave it at that.
bad company.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. You can use drugs, and there's the flip side. We're not going to say what the flip side is, but we all know what it is, right? So I was doing that, the thrill, right? You're so depressed that you look for a thrill, anything to like make you feel good. And for me,
like an adrenaline kind of
adrenaline rush, and that adrenaline rush put me around some people that I was like, oh my fucking God, what has my life become? I'm just being involved in craziness, and
What would you say the trigger for that was? What were you saying? Like, what led you to make that decision again?
Being unhappy at home and wanting to feel a sense of belonging. And what I realized is I just kept plummeting down a really dark hole. And I was like, okay, this shit is getting way too real. Like, this is, like I said, like death or prison. It was like, this is that path. Like, if you do this more, it's you are going there. It is a fact. So I was like, oh shit, maybe that world, maybe I'm not ready for it, and maybe I never will be. And what I've learned is, like, I'm just in a much better situation now where I'm much more comfortable, and I don't have to do crazy shit to get by, like, go to extreme lengths to feel adrenaline, like to completely lose myself and like, oh wow, today I got to get by with an adrenaline rush, so what craziness can I do to fulfill that void?
Well, I kind of get, and like, this is in a different sense, but like, I mean, everybody's just trying to, in this world, is trying to find some sort of purpose brings along I guess like a sense of fulfillment. And I don't know, for a while I was just kind of fueling, like I was doing stuff, but I wasn't feeling fulfillment from like things I was doing, so I was kind of supplementing that with just drinking on my own. And you feel good when you're drinking. I hear music, bro, I throw Don on and I'm just like, ooh, that shit hits, especially when you have a buzz. And it started like, just from drinking a couple beers or whatever, and then like, you just keep going down that path, and you're just instead of like finding dopamine from like accomplishing things and whatnot, you're getting it from taking a pill or drinking. And I wasn't taking pills. I was just like putting that in broad terms. I was drinking. But, a lot of people do, they're popping pills
that was me.
Or just like, I mean, some people find it, I jerk off sometimes. I'd feel it from that. And like,
same.
You're just finding like a quick rush of dopamine from easy, like, it's an easy out versus like, just a good way of finding fulfillment, It's like fucking Sneeko said. He's like, some people climb Mount Everest. I found it from popping Molly and having sex with a girl after we went to Popeyes. And it's like, dude, you can train for like a year and a half to climb Mount Everest, or you could buy a fucking pill of Molly and just eat some Popeyes and just fuck.
Somebody said it, and it's pretty much the antithesis. Hurt people, and sometimes that person is you. And sometimes it's other people. For me, it was other people, and myself. But it was definitely others. Like you talk about your story, it was more you.
Yeah, no, it was completely myself in my case.
For me, it was myself too, because I was like, what are you doing? I was just like getting annoyed at myself. Like, what the fuck you doing, you fucking idiot? And then also, yeah, just like hurting people, and it's like, dude, come on, man.
I just said that, like, you were talking about, like, people talk about, they can spin a story, right? Yeah. I mean, that girl that if all her friends know me as a fucking scumbag, I don't blame them. And, like, that's not even spinning story. Like, what I did, I led her on for a bit because people were pushing me to go out with her, even though I didn't feel a connection. I don't even blame them in that scenario, It's rough.
Yeah, but you're not a scumbag.
I don't feel like I am, but I was in that moment.
No.
My actions were.
No. I know exactly what you mean. But just to offer a little pushback, that's not scumbag. Scumbag is 3 levels higher than that. That was more overwhelming. And still somebody was hurt, but scumbag is intent. Scumbag is you get off on it. Scumbag is you do it.
Yeah, that's another level.
Ooh, that felt... You know what?
That's a sociopath, dude. If you feel good about it.
Yeah, I would say scumbag then sociopath.
Yeah, but sociopath is like you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Scumbag, I don't know. This is all just
scumbag is 1 level or 2 levels below that. And that's why I offered some pushback there, just because what you said, though, was right. Like, to certain people, they might know you as somebody who made a bad decision. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
And I feel you.
Yeah.
I mean, I really feel you. There's been times where, yeah. I mean, I've made decisions, and I'm like, wow, that was the wrong thing to do. That wasn't a smart thing to do, and that's why it's important, though, that we don't cancel people and we don't throw people away. Because 95% of people have good intentions.
Well, that's the problem, is that a lot of people want to cancel people that do something wrong, but are on that 3 degrees below scumbag level. They just did something wrong. Versus, I think it's appropriate to cancel someone who's a sociopath because they're actually dangerous to other people. It's like, if you're going around and you're like habitually abusing people or some shit, and you get off on that, like, that person needs to be taken out. You know what I mean?
It's levels. It's like the dude who asked to hook up with a girl, and then it's the dude who touches the woman.
Wait, what?
It's like, there's levels. Like, somebody would say, okay, you asked the girl, hey, do you want to hook up? And she said no. And we live in a world where even now, sometimes you can't even ask that. And they'll spin that story into, oh, he's a creep and he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the real creep psychopath version of that is the guy who, without asking, touches a woman. Like, goes up to a girl that he finds at a club or a party that's attractive.
That's a fucking creep, dude.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is, we blow things out of proportion, which I understand why, because there are people that go up to girls in the middle of a party,
it's like, don't fucking touch her, dude. There's some weird. I'm starting to really realize how weird some dudes are. This girl that I see on Instagram, she posted on her story that this Uber driver, like a Uber Eats or like DoorDash guy, it texts you like, oh, he will text you when your food is here. And he hits her up and goes, "You look young. How old are you?" He's like, he said, "You look amazing. How old are you?" This is your DoorDash driver. And she posted on her story, she says, like, "I'm eating out of anxiety now because this fucking dude knows where I live." I'm like, man, women have it rough. That is fucking weird.
We gotta start supplying women with the blicky.
Yeah.
We got to give women Drake.
We're talking about, you know, the real thing is take all guns away from men, just give them to women. That's the real solution.
And the fucked up part is there's some women out there I'm afraid of without a gun.
Yeah.
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 Like, yeah, for real. Because, like, you know what it is like...
Everyone's capable of doing damage.
Yeah, and words are the most crippling.
Oh, yeah.
You know, words are...
I get shot in the head, I walk it off. But, man, I get I get found out crying on a Tuesday. No coming back.
No coming back from that, man. And that's, I mean, like, you know, we've... and let's not say names.
No.
But we talked about the situation of us knowing an individual who was quote unquote. I'll phrase like this, so I just want to be very careful with my words in this situation. Who was accused of some foul play on Twitter?
Yeah.
We'll just call it like
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know. And like, so what were we just saying before that? What made me think of that? What were we just
Blicky?
The Blicky, and then canceling.
No, it was. Wait, we were talking about like, just
putting people down or maybe whatever. I kind of forget why I was about to reference. It made sense in my head. I had it.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about like how fuck, what were we talking about? Yeah, we were talking about. We talked about the Blicky giving women, and then I was like, women can do damage. And
words.
Words can do more damage.
Oh yeah. So it's like. Coming back from things, and it's like seeing that, and it's like, how do you come back from that? And it's like, shit, move away, I guess, would probably be the most logical thing to do. But it's just like, it just like ties in because there's just like so many levels of stuff. Like, you know, like, and then I'm not talking about this situation. Let me make myself clear, because that we'll handle that in a different time in a different light. We'll actually get into like what happened there, but like,
yeah.
Sometimes you're falsely accused of things. So it's like, how do you come back from being falsely accused?
Well, yeah, that's fucking rough.
That's crazy, because now you almost have to try extra hard to be the good guy. When you're like, wow, like, I gotta like prove to somebody that I'm not this at all.
Yeah.
You know, and it almost like pushes you to...
Well, that's 100% the situation you're in, because then you have to extra prove yourself.
Right. Which... makes sense, but also too there's the flip side.
Well, I mean, actually you go.
Yeah. Just I'll finish it up by this. Like, as somebody who has been involved in situations like that, double middle fingers up. I got me, and we just gonna keep on rocking.
Yeah, I mean I can't remember who it was, but someone notable who's black was talking about their parents told them growing up, like, you can't just be like normal, you have to be more upright because of the color of your skin. So it's like, man, we're talking about this and we're white dudes, but like a lot of people of color have to feel this way just being themselves. They haven't been canceled, they're just themselves, especially around cops, around anybody. It's like, yeah, and I
you're just guilty off the rip.
Exactly, and it's like, yeah, no, you just made me think about that. The way you said that, it's like people have to be better. You have to, you know, you're falsely accused of nothing. It's like
you fight in predisposed shit.
Exactly. I can't remember who said that. It was someone. It was some famous person who was black.
Okay.
I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe I'll remember later. But yeah, no, and that. America is a weird place. The world, people, everything. We're living in a weird time and just weird social politics, and like the fact that like the color of your skin can dictate anything is weird. It's really fucking weird. Because why does that change anything?
Because you just said something, America being so weird. I don't want this to sound condescending. Because somebody told it to me, so I ain't trying to sound like the wokest dude ever. But when you start thinking of America as a business, it starts to make sense.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I would say after what you just said. Like, none of that makes sense. But when you think about it, you're like, oh, well, if America's a business, now it makes sense. I get it. And really quick, what I mean by that is that capitalism is put above human rights.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely see how like people being a product relates to that just because of how capitalism kind of views human beings, but also it's just like xenophobiaism, just looking at other people who are different from you and being like afraid of that. You know, it's I don't know why it's so deeply ingrained in people that like you look at someone who's not like you and you're like, oh, they they must be different. Like I wonder if animals, because animals must feel that way, you know, like in nature, like animals are looking at people, and it just sucks that like we fight animalistic kind of instincts so much in society, and that like people look at like people of different like, oh, you're like, I don't understand you because like you come from like the hood and you have a different culture or whatever. Like you come from fucking bumfuck nowhere, Arkansas. You know, it's like people are just people deep down.
Mm-hmm.
No matter your culture, there's things that we all connect to. You know.
Yeah, I feel like we're a lot more similar than the media portrays us.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like the narrative the powers that be are putting is that like I'll put it like this, like America, like it is extremely diverse, which is good, and it's bad because we don't know how to handle it. It shouldn't be bad, but we don't know how to handle the diversity in our country. Like you just said, like we see somebody from a different region of this country and we automatically have an idea of what they are, and sometimes that idea is not positive. And it's like, well, how the fuck do you ever think that unification's gonna happen if you have people hating people before they've even met them?
Yeah, and yeah, but even to broaden what you just said there, it's like people look at like someone who's different from them, and it's just like, because you look different, you are different from me. You might be the exact motherfucker that I am, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just like the way people look at other people.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah, because
it's a strange thing, because like people don't consciously do it. I don't think, like some people do. There's some racist motherfuckers. Yeah, but I don't think generally like most people are consciously doing that.
It's like what we were just talking about. Like there are sociopaths, and then there are not sociopaths. There are racist people, and then there's people that are not racist. Sometimes it's just like you're just being forced to believe things coming up in certain environments, certain areas, breed certain thought processes. Like you have no idea. You're just told at a young age those people are evil, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's where politics come in, man. Boom. That's a whole nother. We're spicing up the turkey now.
Real talk. They're making too much money off the division in this country.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, it's just, because it could all be fixed in like a day, but
you think they're making money off the division?
Yeah, I think so. I think they
like selling, like, do you mean media or what?
Yeah, just like
or the government.
Yeah, like, I mean, this is gonna, I don't really want to get into a whole COVID talk.
Yeah.
But like, I just feel like sometimes like confusion is a good thing. Just confuse people, make them afraid so you can control them. And by the way, that is not my way of saying COVID does not exist.
Well, that's a very real thing. Why do you think, like, you know, there's so much fucking, you know, like, tampering with politics and social media, like, the whole Russian thing, like, that is real.
Mm-hmm.
That plays in so much. Like, there's so many bots that, like, post opinions on shit.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
Yeah, so like,
me and my dad were talking about that tonight at dinner.
Yeah, and like, it's crazy because like, I forget. I'm the king of forgetting who said this, but there's a quote where it was like a confused. It's like the goal is not to like leave people in the dark. You know, that works to an extent, but then they know they don't know anything. The best thing is to confuse people so they feel like they can't know anything. You know, and that's what's scary where we're at right now. Is like I constantly feel confused with the information we're given.
And that's why people refuse to believe certain things, because they only want to believe what will further what they believe.
Yeah.
Because they can't handle something that goes against what they believe.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they're too afraid to believe in some. Like when we were talking earlier with your mother about the individual that she knows that refuses to get the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, for some reason, she refuses to get the vaccine. And it's like, you could tell her 150 facts why she should get it. All she needs is one article saying why she shouldn't get it, and she's going to stand in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I have one thing.
It's selectively looking at like what you want to hear, what you want to see,
and that gets at the larger thing of like just letting people be, which really is like, I guess, kind of the way to do it. Just because like, regardless of what you believe in anything, like there's so much misinformation out there, like especially with the virus, just because we're on this topic, and this is not a way of saying we are pro-vaccine, anti-vaxxers. This is not what this conversation is about. The point is just like, you can go online and you can read an article that says this is why you should get the vaccine, and right below it is another hyperlink with 10 reasons why you shouldn't get it.
Yeah.
And it's like, just that concept existing, it's like, dude, whoa.
I mean, and a lot of this shit, like, it will make me feel like I don't have, like, very nihilistic, and feel like I don't have hope for the future of where things, like climate change and all this shit. And really, like, what we talked about before, it's just like, you know, you see all this, but, like, there's also a lot of good shit, man. Akon fucking gave all the people in Africa like housing and electricity and shit. I'm constantly seeing also stories where like we're having really beneficial scientific findings in order to just improve society and tons of acts of kindness. So it's like, it's important what we just talked about, but we should also focus on the good shit, because you know, I know a lot of people that are nihilistic and have just fallen to, you know, the classic doomer kind of mindset where like, we're just fucked. But, you know, you got to have hope. Because
that starts with
even if we're fucked, what is the point of living like that?
Boom.
Exactly.
And I put that on the media.
Yeah.
Can y'all show some happy shit?
Yeah.
Just for like once.
I mean, even if I don't like everything like ABC News puts out, I like that they have that segment where it's like the person of the week or person of the day. I like that uplifting shit because you need that.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say, not to one up that idea, but with the times we're living in right now, that needs to be heightened. We need to see more of that. It's a really, really dark and depressing.
It's a rough world out there. We need more hope. We need more fucking hope.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, there's a narrative that positivity's corny, and I understand it. And
it's fake positivity that's corny.
You.
When you're fucking real and you acknowledge this shit's rough, and then you're positive in a realistic sense. That's not corny, man.
No, I agree.
You need that, or else you're gonna be fucking depressed, man.
Absolutely, and that's what it is. Like, don't just say everything is great without acknowledging how fucked up it is. Acknowledge how fucked. Like,
it's like that fake YouTuber energy where they're like, "Hey guys, how are you doing? Blah blah. Yeah, everything's great. We're doing so well. Blah blah." And it's like, no.
It's like
you gotta acknowledge shit that's bad, and you gotta keep it pushing. You have to be positive though.
It's like the Tiana Taylor song, "Rose in Harlem." Like, just like you said, like a rose
growing out of the concrete.
Yeah,
it's like Derrick Rose.
Yeah. Yo, let's go. Let's go.
I love the look you just gave me when you said that.
Damn, that was hard. That was dope.
Oh my god! But yeah, I mean, I think that's where I want to end the podcast, man.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Everybody just like, as hard as it is out there, man, you got to keep hope.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, if you're still here, you got a chance. So hang around, stay with us.
You can have an impact. You can have a positive effect on everybody.
Yeah,
you know, just by changing one thing with your attitude.
You might be going through it, but unbeknownst to you, you might be holding down a lot of people.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good talking with you, Greg.
Yes, sir.
This was mad fun. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Have a good night.